just hop out and be in chat instead? Unless something, like, is really poignant for me to talk about?
Okay, yeah. I just went live. I don't know why. It was giving me problems. I'd gone live for like a few minutes, but it didn't seem like a lot of people were getting the notification. And it didn't seem like it was getting pushed to the algorithm for whatever reason. So I was like, okay, I'm going to restart. But I'm about to be quizzing Joey about some of my wargaming kind of theories about what's going to happen in Iran.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Alright.
Hello, Aussie Weeby. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Phoebe stream. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. The lovely, lovely stream. Welcome to the show. Hello, hello, hello. Aurora! Look at that. Oh crap, am I in the naughty corner? But real talk, the proxy fights over the oil pipeline to bypass the strait is fun. No, so here's my thing, right? So you're saying it's to weaken China and stuff, but my thing is, like, Russia and China have apparently already been supplying weapons to Iran, and they've been doing it more so over the last month, apparently. Um, and it also occurred to me that China has overland access to Iran, which is a unique advantage that we don't have. And I feel like every time me and you have talked about the possibilities of Iran winning long term, or America, winning versus losing in any kind of international conflict between us and another military power, you always bring up the Navy. But what I wonder is, how much can a navy actually matter if the defending nation is able to successfully defend against the belligerent's navy, right? Against, like, if their coastal defenses can withstand that onslaught, because at some point, if you actually want to make ground and try and get anything changed in terms of what's going on and what kind of power structure exists, eventually you've got to land troops. So eventually it goes from a conflict that a nation might be able to win with Navy alone to one where you've got to have an overland army of some kind. You've got to bring in the army, you've got to bring in the Marines, you've got to have your Air Force establishing air dominance and everything. And I just don't know how achievable that is if Iran and China decided to band together completely in an airtight military alliance where China is actively helping to defend and resupply Iran, and where Iran decides to start, shipping its oil via overland routes to China. So I just want to know, like, what makes that impossible, or is that like a viable route? Okay, do you work? You're watching me work right now. Speaking of which, if you would like to support the channel, please consider signing up for a membership or gifting some to your fellow subscribers. It helps a ton, and it is very affordable. And it gives you some unique privileges too. Like, after we've been streaming for an hour, I usually turn it to members only live chat. Public can still watch, but you have to, have a gifted membership or pay the $2.99 or whatever to be able to participate in the actual chat itself. So there's privileges you get alongside having a membership, and I just like to point that out whenever somebody prompts the shilling. That's a matter of self-sufficiency. The world has intertwined itself for supplies enough. Anyone can get their economy choked out. Only need to land ground troops if there's a strategic objective. Well, no, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, what would be the strategic objective? Like, that's the thing. Like, if you're saying it's to weaken China, then eventually the goal would be to conquer China, yes? Would that not be the idea? Because if we just want to, like, fuck them over in trade, I feel like we kind of probably already do that in a number of ways. If the idea is to make it to where they fuck us over less in trade, I feel like there are ways to achieve that through non-military options. This is not work. Are you living in your mommy's basement? Is somebody jealous? I'm detecting a lot of bitter anger out of you, friend. Tst, you stay up here. That is outside, as evidenced by the fact that you can hear the crickets more clearly now. Notice how you can hear the crickets more clearly now? It's an outbuilding. As in, I'm one of the last few Americans who is not rich, but is still in the unique position of owning her own home. And enough land to have an outbuilding, too. Anyway, so yeah, Joey, if you've got, I mean, honestly, Joey, I don't know if you're free right now, but if you are, you could always hop into my Discord server. I'm hanging out in general, so if you want to. Otherwise, I'll try to. Let me go to YouTube and I'll pull up my live chat over there. And why is it doing that? Okay. All right. Channel activity. Okay, so we got, oh, for sure they've been giving targeting data. There's overland, yes, but the cost is drastically more than the sea. That's a matter of self-sufficiency. The world is intertwined itself for supplies enough. Anyone can get their economy choked out. Only need to land ground troops. There's a strategic objective. There's no strategic objective on Chinese soil. Only strategic options would be nuke or runway sites, but not worth going after, but only open war targets. There ain't yet, and hopefully will not be. So I don't get what the point in trying to weaken China with a needless aggressive war against Iran is then, Joey. Like, what is the point if we're not even gonna... And, like, by the way, I don't think that we need to go to war with any nation on the planet. I don't think that the justifications for this Iran war are... Number one, I think a lot of them are dishonest. I think a lot of people are lying about the reason why they support it. And number two, I don't think that there is a just reason for the Americans to be going to war against the Iranian government and its people, because the Iranian government and her people pose absolutely zero danger to my American ass or your American ass if you're sitting out there in the audience. And if it's just some harebrained scheme to fuck over China in the long game, I disagree with it even more heartily, because I don't see a point. And I especially, doubly, don't see a point when the opponent in this little argument here I'm having in chat seems to be saying that there's really not an objective in China that this is all leaning towards. There's not some overall goal being pursued. It's just like we want to weaken them for vague reasons. We don't plan to like launch a constant belligerent war on them where we invade and take over stuff and conquer China and Iran or anything like that. We just want to weaken China. And it's like, okay, so you don't like at what point does the justification come from then? I guess that's what I'm not seeing. It's to dissuade a move on Taiwan mainly because there's too much leverage with conductors chips. They also are getting more economic leverage for better trade to influence from there. Yeah, but I just feel like you could do that with a lot more diplomatic methods besides like doing this insane war that the people don't support. And fundamentally, my opposition to the Iran war is both moral, it's moral in multiple ways. Why is my other phone being so shitty with its data? Holy shit, bro. Okay, there we go. Hit you up via Discord if it's easier to. Did send a YT message. Yeah, I know. I did respond to your Discord. It was just taking me a minute because for some reason my connection on my Motorola was, just garbage for a second. I don't know why. But I fixed it and my message is sent. So I think we'll talk in here just so that way everybody in the chat can see what you're saying as well. Just because it'll make things a little bit easier on everybody watching. But I hope that's not too stressful given the fact that you're at work. But yeah, we can definitely talk about this over voice chat sometime because I don't know that I understand what the whole point is here. And I think that me and you often, I think, end up not really debating much about the morality of these things because I feel like usually it's just so interesting to have somebody that's got a take that's not predicated on a bunch of weirdo shit. But I am interested in having those moral debates with you, like the ethics of prosecuting a war, regardless of the greater, like, long-term causes. Like, yeah, because I think it really is a touchy thing. I think it's an incredibly touchy thing. I think war is like an option of last resort in every case. The Wardens, thank you for signing up for a membership. I appreciate that. Here in about 45 minutes, we're going to be switching over to a members-only live chat. So you guys that don't have a membership in chat are going to be sorely disappointed whenever we get to that portion. You'll still be able to watch, but you won't be able to chat unless you're a member. Why are your teeth so yellow? Because I have an addiction to fucking your dad in the ass, and he's got a really wonderful sweet tea recipe, and I always drink it after we're done, because it's very restorative. Favorite race to play in Skyrim? Khajiit Gang? Wood Elf or High Elf, maybe? Or Dunmer? Gonna be between one of those. I'm just curious, how long have you known you were a woman? Also, hope you had a good day today. I did. For me, well, obviously at a certain point it would have been girl, not woman, right? But yeah, like since I was a really little kid, I just didn't have like the words to describe it until I was like 16 or 17. But I could tell that I definitely was not a boy from a very early age. Some of my earliest memories are like adjacent to that feeling of alienation within my own body. Excuse me. You're a very well-spoken person. Aw, thank you. How sweet. We eat our cigs. Unfortunately, because of how YouTube works, you'll have to leave that to your own imagination. It's all tobacco. Yeah, what was my point anyway? Like, where were we at? What are we even talking about, guys? Remember, if you want your question read or answered, and I haven't seen it, the best way you can make sure that it gets read or answered is by sending a super chat. And I mean that if you're a hater or someone who likes me or whatever. it is just a good way to get your message in front of more eyes, including mine, because I do read every single one, as long as it doesn't violate TOS in some egregious way. You apparently just had to chat with me for the views. Oh my god, I guess so. Literally, the chat with Joey, and now everything's blowing up. It's good to see, though. I'm still, that reminds me, that's what we were on. Yeah, so with the Iran war thing, I don't see why China could not start, like, if China decided to go full in on their support for Iran in this conflict, and they decided to start actively reinforcing Iranian positions with their own soldiers and stuff like that. And it became like U.S. forces against Chinese forces, but it's like Chinese ground defenses and stuff like that. Maybe there's a little bit of Chinese Navy involvement, but the fact that they've got an overland route, and it's not, I don't feel like it would be as expensive as, like, yes, it would be more expensive than the sea. Of course, everything is more expensive over land than it is, over the ocean. It's more expensive in the air than it is over land. I get all that, but Iran and China are not that motherfucking far away. Like, let's see. Directions, start location, let's see. I'm letting maps do the calculations right now to see exactly how far away. Okay, I guess I'm going to have to search it. How far is... Oh, goddamn. Okay, so it's a lot farther than I thought. It's a lot farther than I thought, but I still wonder if such a plan might not be undertaken, especially if this conflict continues to drag on other people and continues to drag in other nations and inconvenience them and their economies as well. Like, at what point are more and more countries going to decide to aid China and Iran in any potential conflict where there's further escalation like that? It's less feasible than I was thinking. I'll grant you that, but it's still, I wonder. You know you're not a woman? You know you're not a human? Are you actually a liberal? Because if you are, you're cool. I'm a leftist, not a liberal. I don't necessarily have that much against liberals compared to like standard issue Republicans or MAGA people. And I would say I probably have equal issue with liberals as I do with like, more moderate conservative folks like our friend Joey in here, or some of the people I've talked to in the past. Ultimately, my opposition to their ideas is their support for capitalism and some of the fundamentals of their ideologies that are just different from how I think things should be done. Um, I don't direct a ton of my criticism day in, day out towards liberals, but every so often, you know, liberals drive me absolutely nuts. Well, that's when I end up like talking about it, is when someone is obviously like a lib that is arguing with me, from the standpoint of like, well, I believe in this, that, and the other thing, but you're like this horrible person because you support squatters or whatever. Because then it starts to get frustrating because it's like, okay, you want social equality and you want the improvement of society, but you apparently don't want the legislative measures or the direct action measures that are necessary to build such a society. And that sort of cognitive dissonance always bothers me. If you want a perfect example of that, just look at the stream where I was arguing with that Canadian idiot. Don't you know tax is theft? I would argue taxation without representation is theft. But taxation with adequate representation that is like spent on the good of the people is like just a necessity for life and also just. Tanky and so I would say that I am a market socialist in the near term and anarcho-syndicalist in the long term. I think that eventually we will socially evolve and technologically evolve to a point where we can easily and readily live without any necessary threats of state force to keep people from warring with each other or warring with their neighbors or hoarding resources or anything like that. But I think it's going to take a long time, and I think that there are some initial steps you have to do to be able to get to that point. Hence the market socialism. Take as many human needs as we can out of the marketplace, and people will start to see how their labor, collectivized via taxes, can be used to further the betterment of all humanity. I'm 100% with you, Phoebe. Hell yeah. You gotta mute your mic, babe. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I very apologize. Do you like Vosh? No. And I'll tell you why. I don't think Vosh believes in much. Because Vosh was literally making the exact opposite arguments to all the ones he's making right now just 3 short years ago in the lead up to the 2024 election. And he would have been the first to call out arguments like his. I would have agreed with the arguments he's making now, and I still agree with them to this day because I'm consistent and I actually believe in some shit. I think Vosh believes in being a controversial YouTuber, and that's about it. I think when he first started out, he cared a lot about educating people about leftist topics, but once he realized what a viable career path it was and how quickly he could build wealth off of it, he quickly became a streamer who is basically most useful for bread tube drama, really hyperbolic doomer coverage of the news, like I don't want to say clickbait because it sounds so cliched. It feels like one of those things that gets thrown around all the time. But so much of what Vosh does is just like, I feel like for the last, like, I don't know, year or so, he's been telling everybody that the world is over and everything is gone and everything is dead. But he's also been telling people to be active and to participate in democracy and all this other shit. And I hate cognitive dissonances like that. If that's not been a constant theme this week, I don't know what has. Me, I say, the world's burning, but it ain't burnt down yet. Democracy's dying, but it ain't dead yet. And I think we got a lot of fighting left in us. But you listen to a Vosh stream, and fucking Tuesday he'll be telling you about how the revolution's just around the corner and you need to vote for progressive victory aligned candidates and help them phone bank and shit. And then the next day, he's going to be telling you that the fucking world is over, that there's no point, democracy is dead, and there's no hope. And I hate that type of shit. It's like, have a fucking consistent message. Do you not remember what you said 12 hours ago? Vosh pushes a form of economy called libertarian socialism, which sounds like an oxymoron to me. I feel like it's just like a relabeling of market socialism to me. But I guess I would have to talk to the dude to see. And he refuses to talk to other lefties. So, and I've super chatted in his chat and direct download and stuff, and extended the offer. I've played in good faith to try and get us a little talk going, if that can happen, but you know, Fortress Arc Vosh, disinterested in conversations with up and coming lefty YouTubers. Vosh wants whatever lowers the age of consent, the creep. I don't even think that's true, dude. I'm not trying to fucking posture any shit like that. I don't think Vosh is a pedo. Maybe he's into some weird porn shit, but far as I know, fucking, CP and shit was never part of the allegations. And at this point, he is not like some lolcow that is being milked for how embarrassing he is. He's like a political figure that's being taken seriously, regardless of what baggage he might have. And that is the angle that I am interested in criticizing him on. Because, like, I feel like the criticisms I would make about his porn tastes are so broad and general that I wouldn't want to append them to any one person. But a person's political takes are their own. You're full of hate? What did I do? Like, literally, what did I do? Kyle is like, doom, vote for Dems, we need to fight, but it's kind of like the same shit that's not worked to get us in a situation. Grand Platter has done shit about him before the grape allegations. Yeah, that's true. Kyle does kind of have the same tendency of like, you guys got to vote Dem. The Republicans are horrible. And I agree that the Republicans are horrible and that a vote for a Democrat is preferable to a vote for a Republican. I just think that a vote for a strong third party or independent candidate might be better than a vote for either of them. Right? And that's where me and every other fucking leftist YouTuber seem to differ. Well, me and Paul Zigo and I think TJ. We're like the three leftist YouTubers. I don't even know if they would consider themselves lefty YouTubers. Paul probably would. TJ would probably consider himself less labeled than that, and that's fine. But I'm like us three are the only people I can think of that are actively supporting the idea of third party candidates and third party movements, independent movements, like things that break this two party duopoly to go forward and gain strength. And I feel like that's kind of one of the only ways to remain morally consistent in a situation where you recognize, or seem to recognize, claim to recognize, that the Democrats aren't fighting hard enough, aren't doing enough to protect the rights of the citizens of the United States, aren't doing enough to protect the working class. If you recognize that, then the logical next step is threaten with your vote. Didn't expect such nuanced takes, lol. You say as I'm being incredibly hyperbolic. I literally just said I'm one of an elite group of people that believe some special thing. Okay? I'm being a little hyperbolic. Let's put that out in the open. But I do think that there is a nuanced conversation to be had around these topics, and that there are not enough people considering alternative options in the face of a system that doesn't seem to be working for any of us. Biden pays every lib 5,000 a month to stay home and tell MAGAs they're stupid. The YouTube channel is just a front. Dude, if that was true, there would be way more anti-MAGA influencers. There's so many more libs than Republicans. It's just that there are tons of libs that don't vote. That's the fucking crazy thing. My mom is almost as far to the left as I am. She just doesn't fucking vote. Now, I think she's gonna start because of all this shit that's been happening. That's one thing we've been talking about. But it's taken that, right? And it takes that for a lot of people to get back into it because, like, part of realizing that this system is kind of a fucking scam and a sham and fucks people over, and that both parties do it, is feeling like there's no point in fucking voting. But there is. Even if all you're doing is plugging the holes in the ship and bailing some water out, that's better than just allowing the boat to continue to fill with water. And in whatever way you can make change like that, I think you should. I just think that, like, I call for more radical electoral ideas than I think a lot of people tend to on YouTube, because I think that right now there's a real disdain in a lot of people's hearts for the two-party system, but a real desire to see change in this country. And I think that a strong third party or independent movement could make a huge, huge, like, tremendous amount of noise, and maybe even be able to win some high offices. Did you say? Did you see Fetterman say DSA should stay out of the Democrat Party? No, but that doesn't surprise me a bit. Fetterman is, like, basically a Republican. He's like the last living, identifiable blue dog Democrat. Every other blue dog Democrat in Congress knows to be quieter than Senator Fetterman. Senator Fetterman is the last living blue dog Democrat that is openly talking about how he's more allied with Republicans and how he thinks that the Democratic Party is losing its way and all this other shit. It's literally the type of shit that blue dog Dems in the 90s and 80s used to say about the Democratic Party. And it's one of the reasons why the Dem Party shifted to the fucking right in the first place under Bill Clinton, is in an effort to appeal to the blue dogs. And nobody thought they were electing a blue dog when they elected Fetterman. Because that, like, blue dog rhetoric wasn't what he sold himself on. He sold himself on working class, I'm gonna fight for you type rhetoric. I had such high hopes for him, we all did. The entire American left did. He had, like, I would say about 60% of the energy around him that Zoran had for him, maybe 50%. And people were just so excited. And look at those two candidates in comparison. Zoran has been basically the best mayor to ever be elected in New York City in the last 50 years. Fetterman has been a lame duck piece of fucking blue dog Democrat shit that votes with the Republicans more than he votes with his own party. Votes with Trump something like 87% of the time or some shit. Constantly makes excuses for the Zionist project, Israel's genocide, and Trump's involvement in it. Have you considered if politics matters in the end? We keep traveling in the same destructive direction regardless of the party in office. Well, that's kind of what I'm talking about. I think that politics matters a lot, because politics is just talking about how do you determine how you're going to govern your country? What is the social contract between you and your government going to look like? Politics is more than the Democrats and the Republicans. It's a lot more than just that. And once you realize that, it's a really liberating thing. Zoran is terrible, destroying local small businesses. He's actually been a massive improvement for a lot of local small businesses from what I've heard. Let's just see. Let's just do some Google debunking. I got that term from Milo Minuteman. Mini Minuteman on YouTube. Go look him up. He's really cool. What are some of the good things and any of the bad things that Zoran Mamdani has done for the small business owners of New York City? Let's see. Who is somebody? Did somebody join the chat?
Hello?
Oh, hey, Greg.
Hi.
Hiya.
What's up?
I'm asking Gemini a question because somebody has challenged me in my YouTube chat. So we're going back and forth. So I gotta add a layer to this real quick. Let's see. Use only reliable newspapers, and non-paywalled articles for sources. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see what it tells me. You use AI? Not extensively, but when I need like a quick overview of something, or if I need to like get a springboard for research or something, then yeah. Or if I want to make a meme. Like once a month I'll use it to make a meme or something, but like if you look at my thumbnails and shit, you can tell they're not made using AI because they look pretty shitty. You know, like you can tell it's my fucking dumb fat ass sitting there for 2.5 hours on Krita, painstakingly taking, my face and making the background invisible and all that shit. So, um, and I also have a human researcher, and I'm looking actively for a human fact checker to make sure that as I do more long form content, stuff like that, it is actually like verified, ran through human beings, and I'm still supporting like the like researcher and like the people who do that kind of work, right? Who all has joined? Let me see.
Yes.
Let me go to Discord. We got Matt, Minder, Jibby, and Greg. Okay, cool. Well, look at that.
All I hear from you is like scraping your microphone. What's going on over there?
Who, me?
Hello? No, Minder. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you now. Hello. What's up, guys?
Not much. I'm about to read out this analysis though, because I'm involved in a chat with my my YouTube chat right now, talking about the basically Zoran's record, what he's doing for small businesses. So here's what we got. Zoran Mamdani's record and platform regarding New York City small business sector feature a mix of pragmatic regulatory reforms that have earned praise across the political spectrum, alongside broader economic proposals that draw sharp criticism from business groups and policy analysts. The usual sorts of people who object to that sort of thing. I added that part. Positive actions and reforms. The good. Cutting red tape. Open for small businesses. Mamdani launched the Open for Small Businesses reform package, featuring over 50 regulatory changes designed to eliminate bureaucratic hurdles, lower costs, and speed up permitting for the city's roughly 180,000 small businesses. Eliminating redundant permits and fees. Specific reforms targeted day-to-day administrative burdens for small vendors. Bodegas removed the requirement for a separate license to sell items like flowers and fruit on sidewalk displays outside the store. Restaurants axed superfluous frozen dessert permits for establishments already holding standard food service licenses. For barbershops, he extended license renewal schedules from annual renewals to every 3 years. That's pretty fucking dope. Fee reductions, reduced street fair, vendor permit fees, and temporarily waived commercial cooking equipment registration fees. So I feel like that's enough like good things just on its own for me to go look at the bad now. So here are concerns and criticisms. The bad. Broader wage and tax mandates. Critics and business advocates express concern over Mamdani's broader economic platform, such as proposals for a $30 minimum wage, higher corporate taxation, and expanded labor mandates, arguing that these policies significantly increase payroll costs and reduce profit margins for small employers already operating on thin margins. Adding bureaucracy instead of deep deregulation. Conservative and free market policy analysts such as those at City Journal and the Heritage Foundation argue that while providing case managers and cutting fines helps, expanding city assistance Programs creates new administrative layers rather than aggressively eliminating the underlying thousands of multi-agency rules that delay new store openings. And government competition. Proposals supporting municipal or publicly backed endeavors such as city-run grocery stores have drawn opposition from retail groups who fear public initiatives can unfairly compete with independent neighborhood mom-and-pop shops. So yeah, I've got like debunks to all of these criticisms basically. So like if you cut a bunch of red tape like Mondani's already been doing for small businesses and make it easier and cheaper for them to operate, it also becomes a lot more feasible for them to pay a living wage. So, who cares? Like, yeah, they're going to have to pay a $30 minimum wage at some point, but they're going to be making a lot more money, or they're going to be taking home a lot more money because of like the red tape that's being cut and the programs that are being provided that are going to be largely paid for not by further regulations or taxes on small businesses, but by taxing the wealthy. So like, and as far as what the Heritage Foundation had to say about like adding bureaucracy and shit, in the age of AI and automation, adding bureaucracy means nothing. It's like you can create, like for a long time, even before AI, it's been like automation has been making office work easier and easier and easier and easier. And unnecessary bureaucracy is a thing that Zoran Mamdani's administration seems to be pretty keenly against anyway. So I feel like that's probably going to come as the administration makes more cuts to the way the city government works. And as far as government competition, man, yeah, it sucks when your fucking high-ass price Whole Foods retail store is no longer able to compete as effectively because there's a place where people can get affordable groceries. Man, that sucks. Maybe you should consider competing. And with that, I open the floor. And I might read some chats. Also, I think Joey sent me a super chat earlier. Such a long and fun Discord message to push views. Yes.
I think New York is just so used to corruption, and the people higher up always getting their way, and taking money from construction and just a bunch of other stuff. And when somebody comes in and shakes things up, they'll probably stop at anything to get them out. Lies, deceit, doesn't matter.
Well, that's what makes me wonder too. Like, basically all of the criticisms of Zoran come from people who have a vested interest in criticizing Zoran, right? They're the exact kind of people that stand to not make as much profit hand over fist as they normally are able to scalp off of the people of New York. And I'm perfectly fine with that, and I think Zoran is too, and good on him. Just like Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the middle of the Great Depression, as the robber barons were literally raping the United States and its economy to death, said, I welcome the hatred of the multimillionaires and the businessmen. I think it is good that Zoran Mamdani is enacting policies that are like positive and help the working class and small businesses and local operations and shit, and make the rich pay their fucking fair share. Excuse me.
And what is New York known for? Like, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that they're known for, but what are they known for? Like homeless freezing in the streets.
See, that's the funny thing. It depends. It depends on who you ask, because if you ask me,
corruption, mafia.
If you ask me,
how much worse can it get?
dude, but that's the funny thing. You know what? It's funny because I've never been to New York City proper, but having been around the Northeast and been up to some of the big cities, kind of around it, I've come away with the realization that I think a lot of these stereotypes they're based on truth, obviously, but a lot of them are kind of like overplayed. And when I think of New York City, the first thing I think of is Katz's Deli. And then the next thing I think of is Times Square. And the next thing I think of are bodegas, because that type of convenience store kind of exists here in the Deep South, but you really don't find it too many other places.
Well, those are the good things New York is known for. I'm talking about like the bad things.
If you really calculate it though, Matt, I guarantee you. I guarantee you, dude. No, you're fine. I'm sorry. I'm talking over you. I was just gonna say, like, I guarantee you, if we tallied it up, I bet you we would come out with more points for New York than against it. Because I just think that it's got so many beautiful things about it, bro. Just so many beautiful things.
Oh no, I agree that New York has a lot of beautiful things, but I'm just saying that like it's known for being very corrupt. It's known for business costs way too much to run. And there's limited space, so I mean it's kind of just like people go in, they start a business, it fails, the landlord asks for way too much money, they get kicked out. It's a repeat or a turning door over and over again, and that feels like the business scene for small businesses in New York.
Well, I don't know, because there's 180,000 small businesses in New York City from what I was just reading. So let me see. How many residents does New York City and the immediate area have? Okay, let's see. 20.1 million people.
I would be asking, like, how many... I would be asking, like, how many small businesses fail in New York a year?
Yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's just ask. Let me just ask. How many small businesses fail in New York City every year? New York City sees thousands of businesses close their doors or cease operations annually. Recent local data shows that a net total of nearly 5,000 businesses are lost or relocate out of the city each year, with as many as 8.4 thousand establishments closing in a single quarter. So that's weird. Huh. Citywide, approximately 21 to 24% of new businesses fail in their first year. That doesn't actually sound that bad. I wonder how that compares to the national average. How does that compare to the national average? Let me see. I don't know why it's not working.
But, you know, as more of these little businesses, you know, either close or have to go out of state or somewhere else to succeed because of the corrupt landlord bullshit.
Right, but that's one of the things that Mom Donnie's trying to address.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not...
How much worse can it get? Let them shake some shit up, you know?
Okay, so, like, it's not that different, actually. Like, so nationally, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that 20.4 to 22.1% of new private sector businesses fail in their first year. And by comparison, New York City's first-year failure rate sits at 21% to 24%, which is not that big. I mean, it's like you know, it's a slight difference, but it's still like a 1 in 4 kind of situation. I don't know. That doesn't sound to me like New York City is doing things so badly that it's encouraging small businesses to close down. And I will be very interested in seeing how Mom Donnie's mayorship ends up changing that over the next few years as he reduces the permitting process on some of this stuff, makes it easier for people to open and like maintain and keep their small businesses open. And once like a big part of Mom Donnie's platform is like, you know, getting a handle on evil fucking landlords and bad landlords in general. And if that manages to be a successful part of the platform, then I think that you might end up seeing it drop below the national average. Loving the patches on the top. Thanks.
Yeah, you gotta make a new one. You gotta make a new one.
Gotta make a new what?
Oh, a new vest? You gotta make a new vest for future vest.
Maybe. I kind of want to start making them as merch, honestly. Because, you know, especially if I, like, got a P.O. box somewhere or something and invited people to send cool things they would like to see on future jackets. Oh, my God. That'd be so cool.
It'd be a cool side hustle to start a little small business making these cool jackets.
Well, it's something I could do. Like, I could incorporate it into my YouTube channel, I think. Like, I could make my own fucking merch and sell it. Oh, I would definitely sell patches and shit too. I think the fact that I've got kind of like a hippie punk aesthetic means that naturally patches are going to eventually have to be part of my merch offerings. I'm going to have to figure that shit out eventually.
Would you do like sewn-on patches only, or like wax patches?
I would do sewn on. I don't even know what a wax patch is.
It's where the backside of it's kind
Oh,
of
is that like one of those
and you heat it up
iron-ons?
with an iron to stick
Yeah,
on.
no. I would do sewn-ons. Like, because the thing is, with a sewn-on patch, you can get that, heat bonding fabric adhesive, and as long as you have the patches made correctly or make them yourself correctly, you can make them safe to be heat treated in that way. And so, it gives people multiple options, right? So it's not automatically bonded with some waxy material that is going to make it hard to sew through. And so if you just want it, because like a lot of people value the sewed in look, and I understand that completely, because that's like every patch on my vest has that, and like the stitching has come off in places. Some of them also have fabric adhesive backing them, and that's kind of what keeps them on at this point. But the only one that doesn't have stitching, no, I guess there's a couple that don't have stitching. But eventually, I do want to put stitching on all these, because it is like it's a distinct look.
So I believe I was trying to ask in the chat, but like 2 months ago, around then, we had a discussion on Civil War in the United States, and I said, there's no way that could happen, but you said it's possible that it could happen. And I know it's a little too early to tell since the midterms aren't here yet. But 2 months later, how do you feel about it?
All things yet unseen may yet still come to pass. All things yet unseen may yet come to pass. What I mean by that is that I don't think that the probability has changed much, which is to say that I don't know that it's 100% likely, but America, because it's had a civil war, it's kind of like certain infections, how once you've had it one time, it actually makes you more vulnerable to further infections in the future. I think pneumonia is kind of like that. I can't remember the whole list, but it's one of those things where if you have a country that's had that happen, you're exponentially more likely to have it happen in the future. Um, and some would argue that's just like an intrinsic part to all countries' fucking history. So it's hard for me to rule it out. And at this point, people are not as passionate about their individual political affiliations and their party affiliations. Oh, what's up, Elle? I just noticed you joined. Um, yeah.
I think of sepsis, by the way. Sepsis.
But like, I was just gonna say, like, I don't think people are as allied to their political alignments as they were 2 months ago, or 6 months ago, or a year ago. Maybe people on the left are, because we tend to be a little bit more firmly anchored. But I think that a lot of MAGA people are starting to have the veil lifted from their eyes, and they're starting to see how they've been played, but that discontent hasn't left, and it's got to go somewhere, and it tends to either express itself in a massive social upheaval in the form of a revolution, or a massive sit-in movement that elicits a ton of change within the span of 5 years, or 3 years, or something like that, or a civil war that tends to end in worse conditions than you started with. But that tension, that anger, that frustration, that profound feeling that your needs aren't being attended to has to be answered by something, by someone, by some movement. And if it's not answered in the form of positive change that helps to make things better, then it will often be answered with fascism, civil war, the decay of a society. You get my drift?
Well, I kind of wonder if, like, but both, the left and the right, we talk a big game when it comes to civil disobedience or, fighting the other side and stuff. But, it keeps coming back to, are we just too comfortable? And, and I kind of wonder if, like, we talk this big game, but, when the rubber meets
Right now we are too comfortable. Right now we are too comfortable because, like, right now most of us can still afford our groceries and our rent and our car payment and stuff like that. We're just barely. Tons of people are literally at their, like, limit, but they haven't, like, surpassed their limit quite yet. And it's incredible to think that. What a testament to the strength of the American working class, but it's also a testament to the utter fatigues that we are being subjected to, um, because we haven't snapped yet despite the immense pressure. And there are people in this country, tons of people, that work 2 jobs to be able to pay their rent and all of their bills, or that work their main full-time job and have like 2 or 3 side hustles that they do. And all of this combined is how they can afford to live a life where they've got some small chunk of what they identify as the American dream. And because they're able to make it work, and the math is still able to math presently, people are not seeing the utility in giving that, which isn't even stability, up for the seeming instability of 2 or 3 months worth of protesting, followed by a month or 2 of getting back on your feet after the protest is over and we've gotten the change needed done, right? Because I don't think it would take long if it was enough people. But I think it's going to take things getting a little bit more brutal, and I hate to say that. I don't want it to take that. I don't think it needs to take that. That's my thing, right? I think it would be better off doing it sooner rather than later. And what I'm advocating for is not illegal. I can talk about it on YouTube all day long because there's nothing fucking illegal about telling people that we, about 10% of us, 30 million, 40 million people or so, should divide ourselves between Washington, D.C. and Wall Street, and we should occupy the fucking public areas of those places until our needs are met with a set of 5 easily comprehensible demands that can be easily met by the U.S. federal government that will fundamentally transform the lives of Americans and make this country functional. Like, we can do that, and I think we would be better, and I can talk about that all day long because there's nothing illegal about that. That is literally, that is the framework by which the First Amendment has been expressed by mass movements. And like that is the way that it has been done that is most legally backed, if that makes sense. There have been more people exonerated after participating in that kind of protest than any other kind of fucking protest action.
Right. That's until, Trump classifies that type of civil disobedience as terrorism, right?
Oh, that's the thing. We went through the fucking McCarthy era, but eventually that got turned around, and eventually a lot of those people were able to open up and be like, oh yeah, I was a communist back then. You just couldn't say nothing about it because McCarthy's boys were after you.
Right.
And there'll be another time like that here in America's history, and I think it's going to be in 3 or 4 years. I think in 3 or 4 years, when Vance loses the election and some fucking new liberal is in office, I think you're going to see a ton of people really opening up about how leftist they are and about how necessary it is for us to move away from capitalism and shit. Because it's going to become more obvious than ever that people need to speak out. It's going to be the same kind of Renaissance era that happened with alternative politics and communist ideals and stuff like that in the 1960s and 70s, basically in response to the Red Scare and the McCarthy era.
blanks, it skips my mind right now. But what do you call it when they're giving us money because there's no more work? What's that called again?
Universal basic income?
There you go. So yeah, do you kind of feel like since that money is basically coming from taxi corporations, do you feel like it's kind of like a town shop, but on a national level? Like our living is basically tied to corporations, which goes back into capitalism. So I mean, we need the UI, but is the UI
The UBI.
at the same time kind of contradictory?
Come on, kitty. I can't. I don't want to smoke with you right next to me. Come on.
UBI, yeah, not UI.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit more nuanced than that. I feel like a lot of these allegories are making increasingly less sense as we as we get more technologically advanced, and as we develop new and better ways of organizing ourselves and establishing governments and stuff. I don't know. Something else I've been thinking about, I guess it's kind of unrelated, but there's this phrase that's often been repeated, even by socialists. He who does not work does not eat, which kind of sounds like it's somewhat in contradiction to from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. But it's also kind of stupid to believe when we're literally watching AI snap up tons of jobs. Whether we like it or not, it's like happening. And automation in general has been snapping up jobs for 50 fucking years now. I bring that up all the time to people doubting the capacities of AI to automate jobs away. And my thing is, like, at a certain point, it's not going to make sense anymore to have people employed in any of the traditional ways. It's just not going to make sense.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that saying that you were just talking about, that who doesn't work does not eat. Working doesn't necessarily mean earning money for a corporation. Working could mean helping yourself and your neighbors and everybody else and building up your society rather than strictly working so you can make some fat cat money.
Right, and I get that. And that is how it was applied too. That is how, to be fair, you're right, and that is how it was applied. But the thing I don't like is the fact that it was also, Stalin was able to weaponize it against the working class later whenever he wanted to send disabled people to gulags and shit like that, under the basis that he who does not, Right, so it's a double-edged sword, and that's why I don't like it. I hate it, in fact. Because I think it's indefensible as I think it's a witty quip. It's, oh my god, it's almost like an example of, like philosophical rage bait, almost. Like rage bait of the ancients, pretty much. Where fucking, a bunch of socialists, and it's actually like a biblical reference. It comes from Thessalonians. And just the idea that it's been perpetuated this long is endlessly frustrating to me, because when you think about it, it doesn't make any fucking sense as a fundamental axiom back then, or as like a thing you need to live by, or like a universal rule, even when it was written and codified. But it also doesn't make sense now. It makes increasingly less sense now. Back then, it was just a mean thing to say because of how what it implied about disabled people, pregnant people, sick people, etc. Now it's a mean thing to say because of what it implies about the massive amount of people who have been made redundant by AI.
Right.
And automation.
Well, I think, there's many bad things that you can be called, but one of the worst things about just being like a criminal or something is being a leech on somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's working so you can basically eat and have shelter over your head and do shit, and then you just don't do anything to contribute. So that type of person is seen like one of the worst type of people, especially here in America, where we're obsessed with working. Um,
Yeah, I want to respond to something from the chat real quick. Bren
yeah,
then
go ahead.
said, "No, that's old community fashion whereby sharing one fire to make meal for everyone in one pot. Humans have since advanced from that." Yeah, our technology has advanced in some ways, but I gotta tell you, there are literally millions of people who still live lives exactly like that, who still gather around for community-based meals and share common fires to make common meals. Because it's part of their culture and it's part of their identity and it's something they like. And I have participated in a culture like this, the the Rainbow Family of Living Light and their national gatherings. That I've attended 3 nationals and 1 regional, and that is a fundamental feature to all rainbow gatherings: is the sharing of communal fires for the purposes of making food, which is almost always open for sharing. And I love the idea that we've just advanced past this when I've literally experienced it myself. And really, the only way that we've really advanced much past that is that our technology has improved. We've developed new and unique ways to kill each other from afar. Um, we've created a bunch of new cults and weird religious doctrines since then. But, like, advanced? I mean, I don't know about you, but I really love going to a family reunion or a potluck or a rainbow gathering and sitting down in a circle with 20 other people and enjoying a meal around a common fire. I think that that's fun. I think that that's great. It speaks to something primordial and primate within me, and I like that shit. And who are you to
Right.
tell me that I shouldn't? Anyway,
And I would also like to respond to something in chat, Dark Gaming. I'm not wholly convinced by any system that we have, whether that means socialism or communism or capitalism. I don't know if any of these are the answer for how big of a population we have, because everybody's opinion is completely different. How we get there is different. How people interact with each other is different. I'm not even convinced that like some sort of like great society is even possible to that level. But I do know that capitalism has gone too far, and something needs to change. And whether that means capitalism needs to go away completely, I don't know. Whether we need more regulations to control capitalism, which I definitely think we have those things, but we're just not doing them for some reason. So, yeah, something needs to change.
yeah, we have the ability.
I wanted to make a point earlier, but I'm also trying very hard not to be like Mr. Canada from yesterday.
No, you're fine.
Sure, good.
So something about like the AI, and so you were saying earlier, about how like jobs are becoming automated and replaced by AI, and your overarching point for that, I'm trying to remember. Was that AI has progressed past its need? Is that what you were saying?
No, I was basically, so the argument I'm making is that I was actually making the argument that we have evolved past the need for an old socialist slash biblical aphorism that goes along the lines of.
Sorry, before that. I apologize.
No, you're totally fine. But my point was just like that with AI and automation, which has replaced a ton of jobs over the last 50 years and is replacing a ton of jobs right now and is set to replace up to a third of American jobs in the next 5 to 10 years, it no longer makes any sense for us to treat work like it's some holy thing that must be performed in some way for someone to justify their right to live, basically.
Okay, well, when you had said that, I'd gone down this little rabbit hole mentally, and I kind of wanted to pick your guys' brain about it.
Okay, cool.
Sure.
So, like, you know how, like, capitalism in America very much runs on supply and demand?
Kind of, yeah. Sort of. Increasingly less so, but yeah.
There's a good portion of like at least capitalism and our corporations that run directly on supply and demand.
Right, yeah. It's a market force, for sure.
Right. I believe that AI very much puts the idea of supply and demand on its head for us, and for a lot of people that's really confusing. Like, the supply of AI is way higher than the demand for it. It's not a solution. It's not a problem looking for a solution. It's a solution looking for a problem. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I think I have some points of contention. So this is wonderful. So right now, I agree that that's kind of what it appears like, and that's functionally what it is right this second, because, and I hope we all both understand that, like, all both. I hope we all understand that there's like a difference, right, between automation, whether that might incorporate some AI elements or not, and AI, as in large language models and generative AI and stuff like that. That stuff right now is largely, you're right, a market bubble and a solution desperately searching for a problem somewhere. But I think that what is currently being sought out desperately by all these AI CEOs, and what is being found in a couple of instances, are some niches where they can make these things at least break even, and that's all they need to be able to justify to the investors even more building into this technology. And what I project happening is that this technology and frameworks based on this technology or developed with it, that, you know, have some kind of contract with these AI companies because they use their tools to build or maintain the programs that they're building. I think that eventually the integration between AI and more traditional forms of automation is going to become greater and greater, and that is like kind of the bottleneck right now that is preventing AI from being financially viable or growing as exponentially as some people are projecting it will, or as some people are wanting it to. Because, like, right now, automation is still progressing at a super heavy pace, and there are a ton of companies that have been doing traditional automation for a long time that are now working with AI companies to integrate.
I shouldn't have roped them together. I do apologize.
Huh?
I shouldn't have roped them together. I do apologize. I was specifically talking about AI. I shouldn't have roped automation and AI together because they are separate things.
Yeah, well, no, I was just kind of clarifying how, like, that's what I think will ultimately make AI something that is able to start replacing massive amounts of jobs. It can't replace that many jobs right this second, because right now it's still very expensive to get commercial contracts for a lot of these models, and the companies that can afford it are getting mixed results. But there's also companies that are getting pretty positive results at some of their attempts at integration, and that makes me feel like the market is going to continue kind of being inflated on this, and that there's a very good chance that these two technological threads will end up intertwining in the very near future. Some of their microfibers have already begun to intertwine before our very eyes. Palantir is a perfect example of this, and its integration into the technology platforms of the U.S. military and federal police agencies. Like a perfect example of how, like, real world technology and solutions and traditional automation is being integrated in ways that are helping these companies make money with AI. And it's really nightmarish to see it in that particular form. But when you think about when that gets applied to something like, here's the example I always use. I used to work in a heavy equipment manufacturing refurbisher, basically. And I don't want to say the exact company, but it was basically kind of like a warehouse job. There was like 10% of the building that was dedicated to a disassembly line, and then the rest of the building was all just like storage and parts and ingoing and outgoing warehouse type shit. And a lot of traditional automation was already used in that building, for example, to guide the massive forklifts and the big like lifter mechanic things that go up into the tall shelves and grab something from like 40 feet in the air and then slowly grow. And once they figure out how to integrate something like that with an AI that can take a list of like a constant and dynamically growing list of commands, basically. Once AI can be integrated into that and basically be the driver that takes that list and does the inputs to the vehicle, a lot of which are already automated to some degree already, like the rate of descent of the fork is already automated, and the speed at which you can move is oftentimes automated. Sometimes the tracks that you can move on are automated. So it would not take much already for an AI to take over a job like that. It's just how long is it going to take them to integrate those technologies? And that's where I think things get hairy. And that's why I think AI is like kind of a threat. If we don't do anything about it in terms of giving people a social safety net to survive the worst excesses of capitalism as more and more of their jobs go away.
I have a small inkling that it's going to be, like, it's doomed to fail. I feel like we'll always have it around, but I don't think that it's going to be as big or as prevalent as people are fearing right now, or I guess investors are hoping, only because, like, I guess from looking at it, like, just objectively, AI was a idea created to disrupt already functioning systems that were put in place. Like, it's not already something that, like, was created with, it's not something that was created with, like, its own foundation and ground to stand on for something that it itself can do that helps. It has to attach itself to other things to be helpful. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and I agree. I just don't know if that necessarily means that it's doomed to fail. Yeah, of course, AI is an additive technology. I would say it's like let me think here. What's a good? Oh, you know what it's like? It's like an internal combustion engine. Not exactly. It's not exactly like an internal combustion engine. There's a lot of differences. But in terms of like technological revolutions, that's probably the closest thing I can try and compare it to. Because an internal combustion engine is something that can revolutionize a number of different things, right? And internal, and like an ICE is the difference between you being able to go to a very tall mountain and glide on thermals for a while if you build the right type of plane, and you being able to take off from an airport. It's the difference between being able to go 30 miles in 3 hours or 30 minutes, right? But it's an additive technology. An internal combustion engine is not a goddamn thing on its own, sitting there in the crate. Even if you get it up on a dynamo and, fill it up with fuel and hook up the lines and everything, it's still not good for anything but telling you how powerful it is. You have to... It's an additive technology, and I think AI is the same kind of thing. And many people had doubts about internal combustion engines when they first came around, too. I know this is kind of like a weird family anecdote, but my dad loves to tell this story, so I'll tell you guys, too. My dad tells the story of my great-grandfather whenever he was very young. My great-grandfather would... he remembered this story where great-grandfather was like 12 years old, and his grandpa and him and all the other, family in the household back then had gathered around the nearby back road, basically what was eventually going to become like a highway and then not be a highway anymore and be a back road again, to watch the first car that had ever driven through those parts drive by. And as it crankled on by with the old feller in the cab looking as joyful as he'd ever been, my great-great-grandfather is said to have spat his tobacco on the dusty path, said, "It'll never take off. It'll scare the horses." And,
interject.
yeah, for sure.
So, like, I think, this is said over and over again, but I'll just say it again. I believe AI is a tool that should be used to help us with our everyday lives, and also a tool in medicine, in research, and so on. So everybody here knows
What's
what
up,
CRISPR
Robbie?
is, right? CRISPR?
Yeah.
It's more in your fridge that keeps everything fresh.
No.
I was being so brutal.
That was great.
So people who don't know, CRISPR is a gene editing tool that finds gene therapies to help with diseases.
No, I'm pretty sure it's that thing in the fridge. I don't bullshit me, Matt.
So just recently, AI and CRISPR have worked together to find a cure for HIV.
What
So
model of fridge
hopefully
is this
in the-
CRISPR in?
Yeah, so hopefully in the near future, we'll have gene therapy to completely eliminate HIV.
We're going to have gene therapy that will completely eliminate HIV, and it's going to be available out of your local Samsung fridge. Available for purchase today at your local Aaron's.
Well, I never said it was going to be cheap. I don't know what the price is going to be, but, it's cool that we can do it. It's cool that we can use AI to find the problem in RNA, DNA, and develop therapies for them to fix them.
I'm more impressed that we can use the vegetable drawer in a refrigerator to do it.
I'm hoping they diabetes shit, so I don't have diabetes. That'd be great.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. That is. I see a large group of people, especially a large group of people with money, getting really excited about it, and every time I see this cycle happen, it seems like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but that's not going to be as big of a deal as they're making it, you know what I mean?
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's just because with Trump and all that stuff, it's just completely unheld back. And hopefully it'll be highly regulated in the future. Because right now it's kind of like, it's going through, it's the Wild West phase right now.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Goes.
People off. There are communities of people that are actually really pissed off about these large,
Data centers?
what are they called? Data centers, yes, thank you. Those large data centers being put in their towns when they don't want them there.
Right. My thing is, like, here's the thing. Those data centers, you can build a data center that is basically silent and doesn't, like, use that much water. Like, that's the thing. They're choosing to build them fucking cheaply and badly because Trump and all of these red states are letting them run roughshod over the local communities because they don't give a shit about the people that elect them. But I like, that's the thing. I want regulations on AI. I want there to be standards by which an AI company builds their data centers. I want there to be strict standards on, like, what kind of things that they are, like I don't think an AI should be able to tell anyone how to kill themselves or how to fucking, like, make a bomb or whatever, like, fucking people can go get the anarchist cookbook if they want to. They don't need to be getting it on Gemini, right? I just feel like I just feel like this technology is, I agree that right now a lot of it's market hype and market manipulation, but I think, like, the underlying technology has demonstrated enough capability already, I think, to be a like a force multiplying additive technology when combined with other technologies, and I think that is going to continue to bear out, and it's going to continue to cause changes. I just think that I feel like it's another means of production that, like many other transformative technologies in the past, was widely hyped. I mean, like, think about it. Once again, to draw back to the ICE analogy, the internal combustion engine thing, like, America's decision to allow auto manufacturers so off the fucking chain in the 40s and 50s is what led to America being the unwalkable public transit disaster it is today. But it also did not stop the adoption of internal combustion engine technology by basically every corner of the planet, even ones that did manage to remain more walkable and have better forms of public transit. They've still adopted the technology for places where it makes sense. And I think that this is kind of a similar thing where if we don't get a handle on it, it is going to transform our society in ways that are fucking negative and make our lives worse. But I think it's something that if we regulate it responsibly and force these companies to act responsibly and nationalize them if they won't, and most importantly of all, I think that ultimately every AI company needs to be nationalized at a certain point, because I think that, and by nationalized I mean that it should be like held in common ownership under a democratic system. I don't know that I'd want America's present government to be the one doing that, but I think that eventually, on a long enough time scale, you would want the people, not like private interests, to own these AI companies and these automation frameworks, so that they've got like not just a stake, but so that they are the sole stakeholders. Like, the idea of private ownership is something that I am fundamentally against, which means that I have fundamental criticisms of how AI works presently. But I don't think it's going away, and I think we need to be smart about how we handle it, and like what we expect to happen in the future. Sorry that was so long-winded.
That's okay. So, like, so their argument is for this, whether to build like a smart data center or not, is the fact that we need this technology now. If we don't get it, some other competing country will have it before us. We'll fall behind. Which there may be some truth to that, but a lot of it is, I think.
Now that's just fear-mongering.
But also,
dude.
Yeah, but also, it does feel bad to know that my country is falling behind in, women's rights, health care,
exactly.
Science, so on and so on. It feels bad.
That's the thing.
Maybe is the patriotism in me what's left that I have for America, to not want to see those things happen, to want us to stay competitive on the world scale.
But that's the thing. I feel like that, like, what you're feeling is what they want you to feel. And I'm not trying to say you've been manipulated or some victim of propaganda or anything. I know you're smarter than that. But what I'm just consider for a minute, right? Think about it. How cruel a metric is it that we are saying that we want to succeed on the basis of, when we are willing to fall behind in women's rights, in queer rights, in the rights of individual free expression of all sorts, when we're becoming a more theocratic country, and we're falling behind in all of those realms, but we're going to really emphasize succeeding in the realm of capitalism. Because what? Because it's all we've got left? I think that it's actually perfectly fine that we fall behind in capitalism for once, because as good as we've done and as bad as we've done with social rights throughout the last 100 years, capitalism is the one thing that we've always been fucking over the entire world with. I think it's high time that America let its capitalism take a back seat to the improvement of its communities, the betterment of its people, the protection of their civil rights, the informing of their populace.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But it kind of sounds like maybe you want America to become more focused on itself. You know, it's like a lot of those Republicans go around saying, you know.
Are you asking if I'm America first?
America first type of situation.
Yeah, are you asking if I'm America first?
I'm not trying to. I just said it sounds like that because I don't want to put words in your mouth, and I know you're not that type of person.
No, I wasn't saying you were.
Kind of like...
I wouldn't say I'm America first, but I would say that I am America before any stupid, unnecessary, like, foreign conflict type bullshit. What'd you say, Al? I'm sorry.
America before any unnecessary tech rat race.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. I'm America first in the sense that I am the people. Like, okay, I don't know. See, when a lot of people say America first, they are
America, or is the country
right, because when a lot of people say America first, they're just like conservative chuds that are trying to, like, they're building up the fascist narrative that you as an individual need to ally yourself with the nation as an idea or an ideal. And I don't agree with that whatsoever. But I would say that I'm America first in the sense that when I think about what I want to happen on the world stage, I want things to happen that don't endanger us, which is why I think that we shouldn't be participating in needless foreign wars. That the only time we should be participating in something like that is if there's a very fucking clear threat to human rights that is ongoing and cannot be avoided by some sort of diplomacy or some kind of, like, you know, targeted economic something. Like, I just think that every option needs to be pursued before that, right? Because I don't think that it makes your country look good. Like, it makes enemies on the world stage, right? And it decreases your own defenses because it perpetually drains your own reserves, requires this, like, constant buildup of your MIC, which is not sustainable. We've already seen some of the worst excesses of that here in America. I would say I'm America first in the sense that when it comes to domestic policy, I want the people to be considered before any fucking corporation, foreign or domestic. I want the land to be considered, frankly, just as much as the people are considered. Because I think if we considered the land a little bit more than we did how we do now, like a lot more than how we do now, we wouldn't, I don't think we'd live the way we do, you know? I don't think we would make the mistakes we've made in how our country works and functions. Yeah.
Another thing is, like I said, like, I really do love America, and I want America to succeed, but I also don't like America being the bully. It doesn't feel good. Because, you know, because this is propaganda, but it's a propaganda I want to believe, is that America is the defender of the world. And I like that vision of America. And I also don't know what would happen if we became less capitalistic, because that means less aid packages. Because we'd have to take care of ourselves, less military spending. So, comes off. Can we trust Russia or China to take care of the world in that sense? Would anybody else be willing to send these huge aid packages? Because America is the largest donor in large aid packages. We give billions to places, whether we get something out of that deal or not. I do believe we only do it because we can get like mineral rights or stuff like that. This is one of the reasons why we're helping Ukraine is because it's very fertile land. So we're probably getting some sort of deal that way. But you know what I mean.
Have you, like, are these numbers that you're citing post U.S. aid cuts or before U.S. aid cuts?
That's a good question. I know America, for a long time, has been one of the biggest aid donors.
Well, no, you're right. The reason I bring it up is because America is becoming more capitalistic and did become more capitalistic under Trump's first administration and has become more capitalistic under Trump's second administration already, and probably was, kind of trending upwards during Biden's as well. So, like, given that we're becoming more capitalistic and we're actively cutting aid packages and we're no longer the world's largest aid donor, China has actually replaced us in that regard, funnily enough. So we've fallen behind in that too.
Right here,
Huh?
What I'm reading here is donor.info. And it says here, the largest donors of humanitarian aid in 2026. And it says, as of May 2026, so this was in May, the United States remains the top single donor this year, followed closely by European Commission in second place, and Japan in third, Germany ranked fifth, while the United Kingdom is lagging behind in eighth place.
Can you find out if it's... Can you find out if that is, like... Is a humanitarian aid package, is that, like, foreign aid as we're understanding it? Because there's a difference between humanitarian aid that is collected by human rights organizations in different countries and used to power humanitarian missions in other places. There's a big difference between that and the foreign aid packages, which represent a, similarly massive chunk.
Humanitarian aid is like the Ebola crisis, sending like the Red Cross sending doctors.
Right, that's what I was thinking. So it's NGOs and shit. That's fine. I agree. The U.S., its citizens are probably a lot more generous and stuff. I agree with you. If that was your point, then yes. But that's not going to change with policy, right? That's not... Like, the fact that we remain the number one donor of humanitarian aid packages through NGOs and stuff like that proves that we can withstand some Republican administrations and further capitalism and remain a culture that is still willing to give. The thing that changes when you become more capitalist...
Can we go as far as you're saying? Will we be able to do that in the future?
I think that we would become way more able to coordinate national acts of aid and uplifting if we became like a market socialist country. I think we would be able to combine the efforts of a lot of these charities and create organizations within that framework that get people that are interested in doing that kind of work to do it with the full faith and backing of the U.S. government, basically. And then imagine how much more ability you might have if you've got tons more money to spend drilling wells in Africa, because you're spending your money a lot better. You've rooted out a ton of the corruption. You've uplifted your economy with social programs that enable people to pursue their creative works and live at the maximum of their potential. And so your economy's booming. You're getting all kinds of fucking extra fucking bank and tax money. And now you're able to start improving the rest of the world, which also makes America better off.
Right. So the difference here is foreign aid is goods, services, building schools and wells in Africa, stuff like that. And humanitarian aid is is like doctors and life-saving crises and like floods. And,
Right, but government organizations provide those things too. Like that's the thing. USAID was also like part of the I'm pretty sure Doctors Without Borders had a USAID grant. That's so. All I'm saying, I don't know if we're disagreeing or if we're speaking back to each other or what. But all I'm trying to say.
Just explain the difference.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But all I'm trying to, I'm a little bit drunk. But all I'm trying to say is that, like, whenever we have, a trend towards higher capitalization and more privatization, I think it actually leads to less aid going out to other countries because capitalist presidents like Trump's ass cut those programs so that they can funnel that money into their buddies and their little paid private contractors and shit. So
I think someone in chat was trying to add to the conversation real quick.
let me see. Policy changes are affected when you give tax break incentives to the churches, hospitals, and NGOs that do those policies. Is Chad involved with this convo or not anymore for the stream? Aw, poor Joey. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Chad is involved. I've just been ranting with these lovely people for a while because it's been fun to sit here and pontificate. But no, you're 100% right. I don't know if that's 100% right.
Just like a Trump bootlicker, or do you believe in like what makes America great? Freedom of speech and all that. If you don't believe in those things, why should I give a shit about what you say?
So are we still waiting for France to apologize, or what's going on with that?
We kind of owe France for this, England and all that. I mean,
No. What happened?
What'd they do?
What did France do?
The U.S. ambassador situation?
I guess I'm gonna have to look it up.
Here, I'll read it, because I'm not going to... I don't know if... But I'm definitely a learner as far as everything going on in American politics. I've always tried to turn a blind eye to it, kind of be blissfully ignorant. But here in the last couple of years, I've paid a lot more attention, and I've tried to form my own opinions, despite never wanting to do that prior. So
yeah, that's good.
There, I learn a lot, and that's why I'm around a lot more, so I can learn from you guys, because I really do like the dynamic of this channel, being able to learn from different people and pick and choose what you want to go and research yourself,
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I am kind of ignorant. I'm going to say that straight out. I am kind of ignorant. So I'm going to read this straight from Google. So you guys might want to Google it yourselves at some point, but this is what I found, okay?
All right.
So the UN vote spark. The United Nations General Assembly voted 144 to 10 to extend the term of UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk. I probably ruined that, but I tried to pronounce it.
That's okay.
The U.S. voted against the extension, aligning with nations like Russia and North Korea, arguing that Turk's office disappropriately targets democracies while ignoring authoritarian abuses. Then, apparently during this, France, which reading this is crazy to me, but apparently France, following the vote, France's UN mission in Geneva posted a biting critique on X, literally tweeted, U.S. used to be a beacon of human rights, not anymore, mocking Washington for its isolation on the issue. The Security Council walkout. In direct retaliation, U.S. diplomats staged a dramatic walkout during the UN Security Council meeting on Ukraine rights as the French representatives stood up to speak. So we walked out. Specifically when France was about to speak. And then the U.S. Ambassador, Dan, we're going to say Dan, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. publicly blasted France, accusing them of disingenuous grandstanding and politicized drivel and condescending rhetoric. The ambassador nomination threat. The Trump administration began actively weighing whether to delay or completely reject French President Emmanuel's nominee Emmanuel's nominee for the incoming ambassador to Washington. I cannot pronounce this. Oh my goodness. So their name is Aurelien
Arlene.
space Lecchevallier. I'm gonna put it in chat because I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, put it in chat because I'm like, what?
One moment, putting it in chat now.
What should I look up to find this real quick? France was what?
Arlene Le Chevalier.
I would look up
Arlene Le Chevalier.
Spark.
UN.
Like, just look up what I looked up originally, which finally got me to the right is literally is the U.S. still waiting on France to apologize because they're, for a second, before we made the threat to reject the French president's nominee.
I see it.
Yeah.
France's mission in the United States and Geneva launched a verbal attack against the U.S. following a contentious vote to the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights another 4-year term, accusing Washington of abandoning its role as a global human rights leader. The UN used to be a beacon of human rights, not anymore. The official French mission account posted excerpted today. It stands alongside North Korea, Nicaragua, Mali, and Russia isolated, and the world no longer listens to it. The U.S. ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, fired back, accusing France of using the attack to distract from the support for the Turk. It is disappointing, although not surprising, that this is how France deflects on its shameful vote to coddle some of the worst human rights abusers. Waltz wrote on X, France voted for someone who has been lecturing free, sovereign democracies like the United States, the UK, and Israel while accusing of the world's worst oppressors. During the vote for Ambassador Jeff Bartos, the U.S. representative for UN management and reform, declared the UN human rights system has been losing credibility for decades. Mr. Turk, it's an umlaut, so I don't know what that actually is, has guided it to its deathbed. Bartos said, "We vote for reappoint Volker Turk for a 4-year term, it will kick the bucket." Bartos accuses Turk of disappointingly condemning democracies while failing to respond adequately to abuses committed by the authoritarian governments. He said the Turk had criticized the United States, Britain, France, Australia, Italy, more than any other country, Israel. Bartos also accused Turk of remaining silent for 12 days after the Iranian government allegedly began a new wave of violence against the citizens, while quickly condemning U.S. military action against Iran. Bartos further criticized Turk's office for calling Washington to lift sanctions on Cuba, maintaining what he called a discriminatory database targeting American companies and enabling the UN's anti-Israel machinery. France UN Ambassador Jerome Bonifant offered a sharply different assessment during the General Assembly debate, saying Turk had demonstrated rigor and impartiality during the first term marked by growing attacks on multilateral institutions and the University of Human Rights. He has been the voice of conscience, confronting states with the reality and the responsibility. Bonifant said on an official familiar with the U.S. position told Fox News Digital on background that American officials were surprised by France's brazen public attack and rejected the suggestion that opposing one UN official's reappointment amounted to opposing human rights. Officials said Washington and the delegations were also caught off guard by the expected vote because Turk's current term does not expire until October 11th. And that shows the tweet or whatever. The United States sought to postpone consideration for 1 week to allow additional consolidations, but members stated rejected request. The General Assembly then approved Turk's reappointment by a vote of 144 to 10, with 13 abstentions, extending his tenure from October 12, 2026 through October 11, 2030. The Assembly also rejected a Russian proposal to extend Turk's term only through the end of 2026, which would have allowed the next UN Secretary General to participate in selecting the human rights chief. I don't know if you want me to continue. There's like another half of this.
Yeah, no. Do we have enough to go on, y'all?
Everybody and your mother in voice chat, and then somebody else was saying the chat was abandoned.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I don't know, dude.
I mean, they're right in the saying that, you know, Trump's government hasn't abandoned all those things for the dollar, right? So they're not lying on that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, what leg does the U.S. and Israel have to stand on to proclaim anyone else as a human rights abuser when we know the history that both of these countries have gotten up to? On the other hand, like, I don't want to portray myself as some expert of the internals of UN politics and how preferential or non-preferential they may or may not be towards dictatorships. It's something I'm going to have to look into more. But that being said, I don't feel like any diplomat from the U.S. has any right to be like calling out any other country's criminal human rights abuses when we are engaging in criminal human rights abuses. And the only reason we're bringing up the crimes of others is to distract from our own. And I think that, I hate to sound like a Christian, but it reminds me of a quote from the Bible. Like, he is favored that removes the mote from his own eye before picking the splinter out of his neighbor's, or something like that, right? Which is the idea that if you've got like big problems that you're doing and you're like a horrible person, you probably shouldn't be the one who's like criticizing somebody else's like nature in that way, because you're just like, you fucking clearly got biases, you know? But anyway, I feel like it's just like a matter of hypocrisy for the U.S. and it's a hypocrisy that we can't really do much about, right? Because like the only thing that we can do is eventually change our government and our leadership and switch things around so that hopefully things are a little more equitable and stuff. And that we're not doing these horrible, awful policies. I gotta go real quick, guys. I gotta use the bathroom so bad.
Alright, go use the bathroom. So, I don't know. I think, like, I think it's a lot of people's hypocrisy, including the UN, because as much as they groan about what the United States is doing, they would have less to groan about if they have their own army, if they have their own things, where they didn't need the United States to always come in and interject and do this or do that. It's kind of like, yelling at your mom and dad because they won't do something for you. I do think they need to be able to stand. I mean, if the U.S., the goal is the U.S. to get out from all this bullshit and become more U.S. focused on us, like what Phoebe wants, then they have to be able to take care of themselves, and then they can throw the weight around and force the U.S. to change. So I do think it's like everybody's a little bit hypocritical right now.
Okay, that's exactly. Thank you so much. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a quick summary and opinion about, because that's what I got from it too. But I feel like you guys are definitely way more intelligent about this kind of things, about these kind of things. So I kind of just wanted to hear from you guys about, like, or you and her, about how, like, what you guys think about it. I probably should have sent her some references before I brought it up, so she could actually do some research on it, because I just found out about this the other day. But that's what I thought. It sounded like a big hypocrisy fight.
Yeah, it's basically a hypocrisy war.
Phoebe, were you listening to what I said when you left?
No, no.
So I basically said that I thought like everybody was being hypocritical, because it's like yelling at your mom and dad for not doing something that they usually do for you that they don't do anymore. If the UN had more weight to throw around, if they had their own army, if they didn't need the United States help as much, then, you know, they could change the U.S. in some of their actions and what they're doing, and they wouldn't need to, you know, act this way, you know. So I think everybody in that sense is a little hypocritical.
Yeah, but the UN basically exists as like a project of the U.S. anyway. So it is kind of weird for us to stop supporting it. Let me see here. Nanbot sent me something. Kansas voters reject GOP-backed measure to directly elect state Supreme Court justices. Let's see here. A Republican-controlled legislature referred a constitutional amendment to the primary ballot after the state Supreme Court ruled against the party on issues like abortion. And Kansas voters have rejected a Republican-backed constitutional amendment that would have allowed them to directly elect state Supreme Court justices. The Associated Press projects. In Kansas, the governor, who since 2019 has been Democrat Laura Kelly, has the power to appoint state Supreme Court justices chosen from a list created by a 9-member nonpartisan commission. The measure on Tuesday's ballot, which was referred by the GOP-controlled legislature, proposed abolishing that system in favor of a contest that would have more closely resembled partisan races for other elected offices. The move came after the Kansas Supreme Court dealt conservatives some setbacks in recent years, including a 2019 ruling that the state constitution protected the right to an abortion. Voters sided with that decision 3 years later, after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Tuesday's ballot measure campaign drew more than $12 million in spending on the airwaves, according to the tracking firm Ad Impact, with opponents outspending supporters by more than 2-1. Opponents of the initiative argued that Kansas voters already have some say in who their state Supreme Court justices are. After they are appointed, justices face retention votes from voters after 1 year, and then every 6 years afterward. That's fucking dope. Another core part of their message... Huh?
Is that a Morgan situation?
Another core part of their message was keeping the judicial process separate from the electoral politics to avoid partisan influences. Process situation. In Wisconsin, for instance, recent state Supreme Court elections, which are nonpartisan and name-only, have drawn tens of millions of dollars in attention from billionaire donors like Elon Musk, the wonderful manufacturer of Eve Grok AI.
No, it's not that, Ellie. Ellie, do you know who Brett Keane is? Be honest.
Huh?
I knew something was amiss here.
Oh, I just heard the voice, and I was like, yeah, that kind of sounds like that. So
Yeah, I like it. I like that you just played along. I dig it. Brett Keane is like a crazy person. Don't worry about it. We're not going to spoil your innocent mind with the knowledge of Brett Keane. Don't worry.
Google it.
No, please don't. Okay, listen, Brett Keane is a crazy, like...
You don't give me the short version, I will Google it.
Okay, well, I can just tell you... Oh my god. Okay, so Brett Keane is this crazy dude from southeast Missouri, not far from where I grew up. Like, literally, me and Brett, like, lived, like, 30 minutes away for a long chunk of each other's lives, and I didn't even realize it for some years. But, he went, like, at first he kind of became famous on YouTube in its very earliest forms, like 2005, 2006, into 2007 and 8, off of atheist content, where he would basically plagiarize some atheist article or forum post out there and narrate it like it was his own without giving anyone any credit, and, you know, he would find some imagery to go along with it and stuff, and people ate it up. And eventually, someone was able to prove that the vast majority of his content was plagiarized, and that his worst content was stuff that could not be proved plagiarism. And so, like, the veil kind of slipped, and for 2 or 3 years he kind of languished in unpopularity, because after it got proven that he was a plagiarizing fool with no original thoughts of his own, he went insane, started calling people all kinds of pedophiles and murderers and wife beaters and shit. It came out that he himself was a domestic abuser, and he started doxing people, and he got banned off the platform. And for like 2 or 3 years, he just languished in obscurity. Languished in obscurity for like 2 or 3 years, coming back on an occasional channel, trying something new to try and make the angle stick. And eventually, something happened, and Brett Keane made a video. And Brett Keane... Oh yes, it's like if Onision never had any money. It's like if Onision never got money. It's like if Onision was a fat Missourian that never got money, basically. Brett made this video.
Yeah, if Onision was like lazy and fat.
So instead of onion, we're like beet, right?
Yeah, so Brett Keane made this video though where he was like, pleading for money for his family, his desperate, broke, dying family living on the barren streets of Festus and all this shit, right? No content on the table, no support my work if you enjoy what I do here, no sign up for the membership if you want to participate in the member-only chat, no none of the conventional reward structures that go along with a YouTube channel. No, we'll read your chats if you send them through Super Chat or whatever. None of that shit. Just please help me. I'm very poor and I need money. Which is, I guess, fine once or twice, And if you're genuinely broke, I don't have any problem with it at all. Really. Some people gotta whatever, dude. I'm not gonna shit on any person that has no way to make it and that has to do stuff like that to get by. I've had to ask people to help me out online when I was living on the road and stuff. But Brett Keane had kind of always been supported by either his family or his wife, which I guess is his family. But he had always been kind of supported in that way, and it was also kind of an open secret that he was partly living off of welfare and stuff, which I got no problem with. But if you're then going to when you're basically being supported by your wife and the state, you're then going to try and guilt people into giving you money, it just seems scummy. And it seems really scummy when, looking back on it, you realize that that's the video Brett cites whenever he explains why he converted from atheism to Christianity. Because more Christians gave me money whenever I made that video than atheists ever did. So I decided maybe there's something to this God stuff. Which sounds literally, that is, it sounds like something a Christian preacher would make up. Or be, it sounds like something you would hear in, an atheist hit piece movie about how dumb Christians are. and he has for the last 15 fucking years gone further and further down the Christian white nationalist pipeline, and at this point he has openly described having a desire to learn more about Christian white nationalism and Nazism and shit. He's fucking insane. He's like the most ethical lolcow to make fun of, because he's a dude that has clearly demonstrated a capacity to choose differently and to react to his environment. He just reacts to his environment in a way that is fundamentally antisocial, but that is not dominated by some indomitable mental thing, you know? Let me see. Ignar sent something in the super chat. Ignar with the $5. Hey, popping in while I make some dank. What are you ID and what it do and what's our topic? Hope we're all having a good time. What's our guest for tonight? So we got Elle and Matt in the chat. Ignar, we got them in the voice chat. What's up, by the way? Thank you for the $5. I appreciate that a ton.
Yes, please donate. Get her to Washington, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm the guest. And, yeah, that was super cool of you for donating.
Yes, thank you.
Get her to Washington for president. Vote for
Also, Taylor said she doesn't want her chili with no cheese, and I was like, I don't know, man. I like my chili with cheese.
I need sour cream in my chili. Real sour cream.
I'm so glad you said that. I said that to a friend the other day, and they were like, what do you mean?
Oh, people don't put sour cream in chili?
I was talking to my friend from Florida, and they were like, what are you talking about? I was like, no, like a little cheese, and then a dab of sour cream. That's how you do chili.
And then a little chili cheese Frito on top.
Looked at me like I had a third eye.
And then you dip your cinnamon roll in there.
You can do that too.
With this French vanilla ice cream. I don't understand what the problem is.
That's great.
I don't know about spaghetti with chili. That's the new one. But actually, I worked with a lady a couple of years back that grew up in Louisiana, where they put, instead of like spaghetti, they use rice.
Ooh, that sounds good.
No.
That sounds delicious, especially if they're spicing it with Cajun spices.
Chili. I don't think it belongs. But rice, it's different.
I didn't even know if you were a person.
I am the voice in your head. I do not exist. Yes.
Warden very rarely speaks in the VCs.
Elbow macaroni is the best kind of noodles for chili.
For chili mac?
Okay, it sounds like a fancy hamburger helper. I only want chili by itself or on a hot dog.
Oh, you don't like chili cheese fries? That's sad.
Have you guys
I stand corrected. I like chili cheese fries.
have you guys ever had
I like my fries crispy. I don't like anything that'll make them soggy, so I usually keep stuff off of them. You don't dip them in ketchup? I will, because, I mean, it takes a while to get, like, a fry soggy with ketchup, so...
have you guys ever had homemade beef stroganoff?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I like sour cream in my beef stroganoff.
I don't know how I would make a cow, but so no.
I make a cow with my magic powers.
When you mess up, does it come out like a cow plant?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Sims?
Sometimes it just comes out as a horrible dystopian Euclidean being, like, oh my god, I am pain, please please put me out of my misery. With like 7 legs and 2 heads.
That, but smaller with cute big eyes, that's what I want for Christmas. Please and thank you.
Alright, bet.
You want something writhing in pain and mutilated? That's me.
Yeah.
That's horrible. What the fuck?
But if it's cute,
Being in pain is so cute.
The torture blob. The torture blob, but you make it cute and you sell it as a pet.
This is why humans need to go, I think. This is why.
I'm a disgusting creation of man's hubris. Please kill me. And we're all like, aww.
Jesus Christ.
so cute.
Horrible. That's actually that's dystopian for sure.
Oh, shit.
Well, to be fair, I really want a pet possum. Like, really bad.
Oh my god.
Sadly, they only live like 3 to 4 years in captivity.
I swear to God, we're soulmates. You're never gonna believe this, Elle. You are never gonna believe this shit. I have had a pet possum.
Yeah, pet possums are cute. Yeah.
Just
Do you miss your possum, Phoebe?
What?
Do you miss your possum?
No, not really. I mean, like, I feel like if I got one from a breeder or something, it would have been different. But we just, like, had a possum move into our house. And, we lived in town. So, like, rather than evict her, because she kind of had some kits, and then the kits ran off and they did their own thing. But she stayed around in the house, because I don't think she could figure her way back out. And rather than evict her, my mom was like, what if we just tame her? And I was like, I mean, I play Ark Evolved. I guess that's an option.
some people are lucky.
I know, right?
That's,
We didn't even ask for a possum. One just kind of like moved in with us, and we were like, okay.
two things. Yeah. Two things. One, your mother is like awesome. Your mother's awesome. And two, that's insane. That's absolutely batshit crazy what you just said.
Well, I would start telling people my brother was a possum.
Yeah, dude, there you go. Who's gonna doubt you? Crazy people, that's who.
Crazy.
Are they crazy? Are we crazy, or are they the crazy ones? Am I right?
Technically, it would be the mom for adopting a possum, right?
Yeah. You know, child safety. Fuck that. Awesome.
I was an adult. Okay, I'd been adult for like a year, okay, so it was fine.
Feces from a weird animal, you know.
I've also had
Okay.
not me, but my mom also had a squirrel for a pet at one time, and I got to feed it stuff.
It's the stuff part that just made me choke on my head.
I mean, like little nuts and, leafy greens and stuff.
Like, you just like to, shove these little cheeks over a mom.
Yep. And it's cute because rodents and, squirrels and stuff like that, they've got pretty dexterous hands. So squirrels especially, they'll stand up on their back legs and kind of, sit, and they'll, take things out of your hands. It's just weird, right? There's only a few animals that can, like a horse or anything that is... God damn it. Every single time the cat runs across the couch, it knocks over my phone. Anyway,
If I did come across a raccoon, deformed raccoon, Timothy, is that his name? I would probably take care of it. Timothy, but...
well, you can't just, adopt any old raccoon,
Okay, so Timothy?
No, I was giggling at chat.
So Timothy the raccoon is a raccoon with a disease that shortens their spine, kind of like you see in dogs sometimes. And so it's kind of like a small little squished raccoon. And basically it just runs around the neighborhood and people take care of it. They call it Jimothy.
I love that.
The quickness in which I went to go Google that, and everyone who is actively listening to us, please. It's not. It's so worth it. Just Google Jimothy the raccoon, because holy crap, bro, looks so nefarious. It's so cute.
Ah,
He's
yes.
up to no good. All the good.
The first exposure to Jimothy is always awesome.
Jimothy's cool. I would love a pet Jimothy. I would take her.
Me too. Raccoons are kind of hard to like take care of from what I remember. Like my mom used to have some when I was like a real little kid. When I so I grew up with very weird parents with a very weird childhood. When I was like a real little kid, my parents had a petting zoo. So they had all kinds of weird pets. Like my parents had a cougar when I was like a baby. And it lived in the house with us.
See, the more you tell me about your childhood, the weirder it is, because it's like weird, like dangerous animals in house check.
I used to have to
Trans child raise eyebrow. See what I mean? This just doesn't make sense.
I used to have to be kept on a leash whenever my parents would go to exotic animal sales, because I wanted to pet everything, including like the capuchins and the chimps and the tigers and everything else. Like all the things that would kill me if they could get a hold of me. But I was just a cute little 2-year-old little, gonna be girl eventually, and I was walking around like, I want to play with the animals. Please. So I had to be kept on a leash. And a leash and harness.
Now that you're older, how do you feel about like petting zoos and keeping like wild animals and stuff?
I think that as long as animals are provided with the choice of when they want to interact, and they are provided with a stimulating environment that is replicative of their natural habitat to the greatest extent possible, I think that it can be done ethically. I think it is often done very unethically. And I tend to think that the most ethical petting zoos are mostly going to focus on animals that are either already domesticated or that are very easily habituated to human presence. Giraffes, for example, can be made a very easy petting zoo addition if you've got enough land to dedicate to their care and everything, because a giraffe, you can make a feeding platform and stuff, and you can pet the giraffes sometimes as you're feeding them, and that's an example of an animal that's a wild animal that is maybe something that you can make an argument for because they already exist in zoos, and you can provide them with a habitat and in conditions that are rewarding and stimulating enough that they don't go insane. Then there's other animals that I don't really know that you can do that for, like the big cats and stuff. And I think that the best candidate for petting zoos would be
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, you're fine. This is just one last thing. I was just gonna say, I think the best candidates for petting zoos would be farm animals and stuff, domesticated animals. But go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
First off, I think that's what you said is very important. Having environments that will stimulate them in ways that they need. There are certain zoos that do that, and I think it's a really cool thing if you don't know about it. I think you do, given the way you said that.
Yeah.
Sorry, one moment.
You're fine.
Okay. Sorry about that. Almost burned myself, but, okay, so some zoos do that, where they have, a rotation system. Do you know about that?
Um, well, I might have heard it described under a different name. Describe it for me.
Okay, so there's like a lot of zoos will have this like predator-prey rotation system where so animals don't get complacent, bored, or depressed.
That's cool.
They will rotate the animals in a way where they have a predator on one side and a prey on the other. That works well with their species. So, like, they won't get too anxious or too bored with their environment if they were just kind of, like, moved around like chess pieces in a way that keeps them on that predator-prey rotation. They don't get as depressed. They keep excited, and even, like, daily rotations throughout the day happen for certain animals at certain zoos, where, like, they won't be out certain times of the day because they're, like, as if they're like little celebrities, their schedule can't get too predictable to go in certain places all the time during certain times, or the animal will start to expect it and again get depressed or complacent.
Yeah, so it goes in different cycles and stuff. I haven't heard about this program actually. That is a really cool idea, and I could see how that could definitely improve the mental health of a lot of the involved animals. And stuff like that is, I think, super incredibly important for zookeepers of all different sorts to know about and look into. And I think that stuff like that needs to be looked into more, because I think that humanity's history and recent findings have both demonstrated to me in my learning that we can and have ethically kept animals, and we can ethically keep them. It is an active choice, right, to not ethically keep animals, and I think that, like, it really is nice whenever I hear something like a program like that developing, because it's just more reassurance that there are people who still care, who are looking into how to make the lives of these critters better. Because I think it really does do a tremendous amount of value.
Actually, give you a little bit more happiness or excitement towards this topic. It's actually something that's been developed over the last 10 years in my area.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's
dope.
dope.
It's a complete system put in place in one of the largest zoos over here.
That is so freaking cool. Oh, you gotta go?
I gotta go. Yeah, I'm not feeling that good. I'm too hot. I gotta go cool off.
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry.
yeah, you know, go where you gotta be to be cooler, because I get that.
Yeah, I'm cooked.
Yeah, we cooked Matt with our massive heat reserves.
Yeah.
Cooked him in the crucible of debate.
Alright, 11-piece baby.
Matt loses.
Debate.
Matt lost the debate.
I do think one of the most ethical ways to do petting zoos is using animals that have been rehabilitated for certain problems that can't be put back into the wild.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a perfect idea, because, like, at that point they're already going to develop a relationship with their human handler, so you might as well let them develop a relationship with other human beings too.
Mm-hmm. There's a petting zoo in a nature reserve near where I grew up that had that. There was a one-eyed bear.
That is
and it wasn't
fucking...
part of the petting zoo, but it was a part of the zoo.
What was his name? I gotta know.
Oh, goodness.
Huh?
Let me look it up.
Okay. Cool. Tired? Good night? Okay, Taylor. It's becoming fewer and fewer people in the chat. But sometimes it picks up again after it goes all low like this. It's not as late as I thought it was. That's good. That's good, though. That's good. I'm staying on schedule. I'm doing what I need to do. More or less. I really do think that there is a lot more nuanced conversation to be had around animal husbandry and stuff like that, though, than a lot of people make out. It's not like you can't ethically keep an animal in confinement. And I would argue that they're animals, like, because of how we've bred them and how they've lived over the last few thousand years and close contact with us, that, like, they just really wouldn't survive that well outside of specific scenarios. Like, I guess if we wanted to try and, like, if we didn't have any wild buffalo to try and repopulate the Great Plains with buffalo, then maybe we could do that with cows. Maybe after 200 or 300 years, they would begin to pick up enough of their natural instincts again to where they would be able to survive in an environment like that. But I don't know. And I feel like there's a lot of examples like where we've already got a bunch of farm animals that it's like, if you want to have a petting zoo, just like, there you go. Like, you take her, like a retired dairy cow, and you put her on display and you get her real friendly with people, and she's like getting, milked by people that or maybe she doesn't, if she's retired she's not gonna be getting milked, but she's getting like pet by people and enjoying her.
You don't
like
feed cows milk, but close.
well, I just remembered that like a retired dairy cow wouldn't be giving milk anyway, so I was like, what am I fucking saying here?
I couldn't find the name of the bear.
That's
I'm gonna
okay.
ask a family member.
That's yeah, let me know, because I bet it had a cute and clever name. Bear, animals with cute little features like that always have. I mean, I guess it's not really cute for the bear, but it, like, I think it's kind of endearing to the human spirit that we look at traits like that and tend to not only anthropomorphize them, but we also tend to look at them as endearing.
It is really endearing, definitely.
It is.
100%. I think it's super cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably the best way to ethically do something like that. And I think cows are definitely a good example. Cows are actually really smart and empathetic little creatures. It would be lovely for them to have a second option as far as like retirement.
Yeah, because a lot of times.
To be pet the rest of their lives.
Yeah, because I mean, like, if a retiring dairy cow doesn't get purchased by somebody that wants to just have a cow because they just want to have one, or by a petting zoo or something like that, it will usually end up getting just slaughtered for pet food. And to me, that's incredibly sad. Like, they do usually get like a full usage of the carcass. It's like, you get leather and sometimes full cowhide. It just depends on what kind of life and what kind of illnesses that heifer might have had. You get, the hide and the bones and hooves can be have the gelatin boiled out of them, and then can be ground up for bone meal, which can be used as a soil additive, or used in various different products for various different uses. And a lot of the meat and organs and stuff like that just ended up getting used for animal fodder, basically. And I find that a pretty, like, I know that it's, like, it is in the spirit of, like, a full life cycle for this living thing that we're getting usage out of, but it also seems like a kind of demeaning way to die for something that's provided as much utility as it has.
Right.
So I tend to support, like, them getting bought up by petting zoos or people that just want to have a cow or something. It's like, man, if we need to be grinding up millions of retiring dairy cows every year to support the massive animal fodder industry, maybe we don't need to be having as many animals,
Right. Logically.
That's how I feel about a lot of stuff. It's just like, it's such an uncomfortable conversation to have with a lot of people, because a lot of people, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, I'm just like, because I'm even this way in certain ways, it's a very hard sell to get people to realize, like, a sustainable society might look like a society where there's no longer a giant produce section at Walmart that you openly go through and choose from. It might look more like you having to, like, maybe there's a produce counter and all of it's in, you know, like cold storage and stuff that guarantees that, like, less needs to be held because less is being marketed on the basis of it being on these big, vast shelves that require way more than you actually need just for the purpose of display. Like, a ton of food waste happens in this country, for example, just because of the way that we sell certain things. Like open chest freezers lead to food waste. Like open chest freezers, open chest refrigerators. Sorry. Sorry, swallowed a bug. Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
But like the fact that we have like these giant produce sections that are filled with these little fruit stand areas that are just piled high with oranges, that leads to food waste because tons of people end up sorting through a bunch of different fruit. Some of it gets dropped and put back on the shelf, and a lot of like contamination and spoilage happens that doesn't need to happen simply because of the way that we market these things. But when you start telling, or at least when I start telling this to a lot of people, it kind of like makes them bristle a little bit because it's like, well, you're telling me I can't buy a cucumber anymore? It's like, no, I'm just saying, like, maybe you don't get to pick out the individual cucumber, okay? Maybe they bring you a cucumber and ask you if that's okay. And if you don't like it, you ask them to go find you a different cucumber. And you tell them what exact kind of cucumber you're looking for. And maybe they've got the right one, and maybe they don't. But it's in a refrigerator that stays colder than it's going to be able to stay out there, that does so more efficiently, that is being handled by people who are trained to handle it with gloves and minimal like cross-contamination and possibility for spoilage. And I think that there's probably a number of products that should be sold like that when it comes to grocery stores. I don't know that it was a good evolution for the planet for the first Piggly Wiggly to open. The first store to take stores. Wait, do you know the story of Piggly Wiggly? You're from the South, so you might.
I know the story, though.
Okay, so
I know what you mean.
So before Piggly Wiggly, you didn't go in and peruse a bunch of different goods. Maybe there would be some goods set up on shelves around the periphery of the store, but a ton of the goods would be in the back or behind the counter and, behind the shelves and stuff, and, like where only the store owner could get to it. And a ton of grocery stores were just basically set up where there was a small little lobby area and the like shelves that the grocer would use to stock what you needed and get your grocery order were like, his eyes only basically. And it was up to that grocer to make sure that they had the right inventory and that they got the right order and stuff. And so there was like more checking. You had to make sure that they got the right things and the right varieties and everything. And but what this meant is that less inventory could be carried because you didn't have to worry about as much being broken or mishandled or whatever. It meant that like handling mistakes in general led to less loss. It obviously prevented a lot of shrink and theft and stuff like that. Didn't completely prevent it, but when Piggly Wiggly opened, that changed the whole game. And suddenly, oh god damn it. Suddenly, it was no longer about going into a little lobby and waiting for your grocery order to be fulfilled. With Piggly Wiggly, you went in there and perused the shelves yourself. And you got all your groceries by yourself. And you did the shopping, and then you went to the counter at the front of the store to check out. And I think that that might have been the single most destructive innovation that has ever happened to this nation and to the planet. Like, if you want to track it down to one single innovation that fucked this place and fucked the planet, it's when Piggly Wiggly opened and normalized the standard whereby there would be just impressive, insane amounts of well-stocked shelves to remind you what utter luxury and decadence you were living in.
I had no clue. That's crazy. I legitimately, I did not even think about that. I've seen some like older shows where they'll get that paper bag, they'll go behind this, in the next storeroom, they'll grab stuff, and then that's your groceries. I've seen that play out, but I've never actually questioned it.
Yeah, so you've seen it, but like that's the thing. That's why I find it so fascinating to tell people this story. And I'm gonna fact check myself real quick. Let me see here. Yes, okay, I was right. Yes, Piggly Wiggly is recognized as the first true self-service grocery store. Opened in Memphis, Tennessee on September 6, 1916. Revolutionized retail by allowing shoppers to walk the aisles and pick their own items, replacing the traditional model where clerks fetched products from behind a counter. And yeah, that's why I love telling this story, because whenever people hear it for the first time, it really makes them think. They think back to every old Western movie, or every old movie that... Yeah, like, I know what you mean. Like, every old movie that's set in the 1950s when that change had not completely taken over the whole country. Or that's set in the late 1800s when that just wasn't a thing at all. And people are always like, damn, was that really how, like, a grocery store worked in the day? Is that, that's the general store model is really a thing? And it's like, well, yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. What, do you think we always shopped with fucking carts? Like, do you think prehistoric man was walking around with a shopping cart in the jungles? Like, so when you really start thinking about it, it becomes kind of obvious that there had to be a moment where things changed, and it really kind of puts into perspective how real that experience was for so many people, and also what a transformative thing it is, and it really makes people realize how big the change is, and why, maybe it helps you understand why I say that it's kind of hard for people to reconcile the idea of having a sustainable society and not having overflowing shelves full of groceries that you personally can peruse with a cart.
I mean, there's already some examples of that reforming, like DoorDash, right?
Or Instacart, yeah.
Yeah, and then they've even taken it a step further even recently. I don't know if you've ever heard of, like, DoorDash Market or, like, Dash Mart.
Yeah.
But they are, like, convenience stores that aren't actually stores. Just warehouses with people who will pick your orders for you from that warehouse, which is usually like refrigerated things and then like convenience store items. The store itself isn't actually a store. The Dasher will go in there and grab your paper bag order that someone from the warehouse has packed for you.
Right.
And immediately when you were like explaining that, that's where like I started thinking about, like, we've kind of reformed that in a manner, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I wasn't even thinking about that until you mentioned it, but yeah, you're 100% right. DoorDash Market and services like that are, Amazon Fresh is kind of the same way. these services are kind of like reinventing the old, I don't even know, because that model is over 100 years old, I don't even remember what it was called. I would have to, because one of the only reasons I remember this is because I took a field trip and a couple of family trips up to the Pink Palace when I was a kid, which was the mansion that was owned by Piggly Wiggly's founder. And there is a replica Piggly Wiggly that they built inside of that place because it's a museum now. And there's a replica Piggly Wiggly that they built inside of that place. And I remember learning a ton about the history and first becoming fascinated about the story back then. But I can't remember what the old model was called. Maybe just the clerk shop model, I think. And we've kind of...
Clerk service model.
The clerk service model, gotcha. We've kind of rebuilt the clerk service model with these kind of internet-based, app-based services that enable people to do basically the exact same thing. The only difference is now there's even more convenience, because instead of having to ride a horse down to the general store or down to the local grocery or taking the old Model T, now you're able to... Yeah, exactly. The local courier can deliver your meal straight to your door.
Yeah, which I think is kind of cool now in retrospect. I didn't even realize. Yeah, I didn't know. I learned that today. That was our old model. Like, I've definitely seen the old westerns. I just never questioned it. I just thought, oh, smaller stores, smaller.
Yeah, but then you realize, that that's how it worked for everywhere in America until one little store in Memphis, Tennessee first opened its doors. And that just kind of changes everything, because it changes how you think about retail. You know, because there just for a long ass time, the idea of going through, like, at least for groceries and home goods and like standard issue kind of items, the idea of going through and perusing like shelves full of that kind of stuff, just absurd. Basically the only like walk through self-service kind of retail that existed still wasn't even self-service retail back then, because you'd be talking about like department stores and stuff, which were based on a personal customer service kind of assistive model, where anytime, and there's still some businesses that held on to this even when I was still working in retail, because I used to work at Office Max, and they kind of followed this model still to that day. They're closed down now, but the idea was, when you go into a store, there would be a number of customer service associates waiting around, and their job was to connect with every customer, find out exactly what they needed, keep an eye on them the whole time, take them to what they needed, sell them what they needed, and sure, it was all out on shelves where anybody could get to it, but it wasn't really self-service. If you were like a trusted customer that spent lots of money there, then sure, you could shop on your own. But if you were a new customer, they were going to heavily discourage that. And if you were poor, there's no way they were going to allow it at all. And it wasn't until Piggly Wiggly came around and that model started, like Piggly Wiggly started basically being able to outcompete a bunch of the other grocery stores in Memphis, because it offered this, what felt like a less intrusive and bothersome model. It's the same reason why some people are taking up Amazon Fresh nowadays and looking into DoorDash Market and stuff, because, it felt kind of intrusive to people back in the day to have to give their entire grocery list to some stranger or to some judgmental clerk in their local grocery store, or somebody in the local town that they know or whatever, and they know all your purchases and everything else. And then you got to be able to make your own choices. And it was just some transient cashier at the front of the store that you had to worry about. And suddenly it felt a little less imposing and a little more freeing. And that's the same kind of effect, I think, that is bringing back the clerk service model today, where people are feeling like, I can just sit at home, do my grocery order while I'm actually looking at my shelves without seeing all the impulse buys and everything. And my grocery list becomes my grocery order, and I'm less likely to put all this other superfluous shit on it, and it gets just delivered to my house while I'm like doing the laundry and cleaning the dishes. So like, hell yeah. It is cool to think
more
about.
privacy, more individualism in that aspect.
Yeah.
I did just read something. Oh my god, Phoebe, did you hear about Perez Hilton, Taylor's son?
I haven't seen the video, but apparently he was having a breakdown on TikTok Live saying he was turning to God and cutting himself on cam. I have not heard about this, but I'm telling you, people are going fucking batshit insane. They've been going for like 3 years, but I guarantee you the rest of this year, as summer keeps on fucking baking people out of their minds, and the climate keeps on sending crazier and more unpredictable shit at people, and the Iran war continues driving prices up, and bad management across a bunch of different nations continues making people's lives worse. Like, I know Perez Hilton is pretty fucking far removed from any of those concerns, but I'm telling you, man, this kind of shit, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a fucking religious belief of mine, because I don't know if I can justify it necessarily sociologically, but it seems to me that when things stop working and start having a lot of negative effects across a mass scale, that it just seems to me like it starts affecting everybody on a certain level. And you know what, maybe I can back this up, if not sociologically, then at least in leftist theory, because this is something that Marx and Engels talked about in the late 1800s, when capital has established itself and become so dominant in a society that it is able to make all the rules. You eventually get to a place where you've got a functionally sick society, where people of all social classes are kind of like breaking down and fraying at the edges, because the contradictions are becoming too vast to reconcile and too clear and obvious to deal with. And it takes a long time, sometimes too long, for that energy to coalesce into a movement that can actually do something useful. That's my feelings on that. I think the world done gone crazy.
Oh, honestly, I was looking into it, and he seems like he's been hospitalized.
Probably for the best.
I think you have a good point. Like, I think there is, like, for lack of a better terminology or example, there's like this like sanity bar that people have, and when that starts dipping too low as like a whole, people do start acting more irrational.
Yeah, I agree. If we want to gamify it, like, that's a great way to look at it, and I like to gamify life in a lot of different ways. It's like a society and a community and individuals all have like a an insanity bar, and like the sanity bars of the individuals, I think, contribute to the whole. But when there are enough people that are functionally fucking insane, and especially the more those people have power, the more negatively they influence the insanity bars of the community and the nation. And the lower those get, the worse they influence the ones of everybody else. And so eventually you have otherwise rational people that start just kind of going hog fucking wild, because they don't know what to fucking do anymore.
Leveling their city?
Huh?
Like making a tank and leveling their city, the Killdozer story.
Oh yeah, Martin Haymeyer, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Marvin Haymeyer.
Marvin Haymeyer, yeah.
Yeah, right, no, but that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, the Killdozer thing is an example of what happens when shit goes on so long that just flatly makes no sense and is crazy making, and no good cure can be found. And I think that that kind of civil unrest is like a natural and predictable consequence of massive social and economic inequalities that just lead to conflict every time. And I think that we're seeing more of the results of that year over year. And I don't know how much longer it's going to take us going through this kind of thing before we finally get to a point where we're like, all right, now is the time. We're all so sick of it. We are going to, we're going to occupy Wall Street and DC until our needs are met or whatever. I don't know when that time is going to come. I want it to happen sooner rather than later because I think it's actually easier and more feasible to do when we've got more rather than less. But I fear that it's not going to happen until, as Paul Zigo, one of my favorite YouTubers, has said many times, I feel like it's not going to happen until there are breadlines. And I fear that a lot. I don't want things to get that bad before people finally realize that they've gotten a raw deal.
Right. I do think, bouncing off that point that you had made earlier, that I think we are too comfortable. I think we're too comfortable to really make any drastic changes like that, or even a previous point from even earlier than that. I think we're too comfortable to have a civil war. But even then, I think even past the being too comfortable for those things, I think mutually assured destruction, the idea that we all know that if another civil war were to happen, that it would be a joint negative for both sides, no matter what.
Yeah, I think that is one of the things that keeps people from going the Civil War route, for sure. When it comes to the kind of social upheaval I call for, one of the things I always kind of try and push back against is this idea that it necessarily has to involve a ton of sacrifice from the working class. Because I think that at this point there would be, especially if there were enough people involved in it, I think that there would be comparatively few people jailed and very few people, if any, killed. And I think that most of the people that were jailed would be exonerated, if not later on in the months to follow, then definitely when administrations shifted around. And I feel like that we've kind of had to make sacrifices, at least on that scale, for most of the major changes that we've achieved, both economically and socially over the last 100 years, like the civil rights movement or the union movements, whether you're talking about the union movement of the 1920s and 30s, or the union movement of the 70s and 80s, both of these moments, or the civil rights movement of the 60s and 70s, or the anti-war movement, all of these moments involved massive amounts of people mobilizing, sometimes on a community level, sometimes on a state level, sometimes on a national scale, in order to achieve great change. And ultimately, all of them, in the end, felt like they had gained more than they sacrificed. And I fear us resisting the effort to undertake an attempted change for so long, as a culture, because it's not up to any one person, right? I'm not saying us, me and you, I'm saying us as a culture, right? I fear that we resist change for so long that we end up sacrificing a lot more than we need to, just by the death of 1,000 cuts that the bourgeoisie are inflicting on us. We end up giving away so much as we're trying to build up these better systems, that by the time we do finally engage in a massive uprising, we've already sacrificed more than maybe we needed to. That's, I think, a fear of mine in my advocacy.
Right. That makes sense. I see.
Ugh.
I learned a lot.
Dude, this blackjack cola that I'm drinking is not good. Because it's blackjack cola. It's like a Jack Daniels, like, you know, I don't know if they call those wine coolers or what, but it's like those, it's like beer, but it's not beer. It's different. It's like fruity. It's like fruity beer.
The lemonade version of these are actually really good.
I'll have to try that, because this is not good. I feel like it would be good if it was refrigerated, but my dumb ass has let it sit out here all night as I've been drinking it.
I'll get some ice.
Well, but inside, though. Because then I gotta get out. Fucking, I gotta get up, and I gotta walk inside, and I don't even know if we have any ice, either. What if I get all the way inside, and I open the freezer expectantly, looking for ice, hoping that my long journey has been worth it, only to find the freezer empty of ice?
And then you have to freeze. What you did find was a task.
Yes, true.
Hi.
Who
I
returned?
feel better.
Oh, Matt, did you throw up? Did you go purge?
Purge.
I'm kidding. Listen, I had an eating disorder, okay? I can say it. It's fine.
Oh, I have the opposite of an eating disorder. Well, no, I do have an eating disorder. Just
No, dude, you know what? That was an insensitive joke, and I shouldn't have said it. It was mean, and I feel like I should apologize.
I'm not that sensitive. It's
No, I know, but you're not the only person in this chat, and you're not the only person listening, so I just want to say, you know, like, it occurs to me that might have been a fucking insensitive thing to say, and I just want to say that I'm sorry. That's all.
You want to say that you're drunk?
You don't know a fucking thing about me, Matt Blank.
Well, that's true.
You know what blank means in your username? Fucking blank is the space in your head.
Hey, let's go.
I'm kidding. I love you, Matt. Don't hate me.
Burrito, tacos and burritos. That's what's in my head.
Me too, pal. Me too.
Will you just look at a nice big old burrito right now?
I would like a California burrito. That'd be nice.
Big burrito. I wanna eat a California burrito. Really wanna eat a California burrito with... Okay, sorry, I'll stop.
Listen, I know burritos. Yeah, I have the best burritos.
The greatest
I have
burrito.
the best burrito. Did you know they say I have the best burrito? I have the biggest burrito.
Big burrito, made with sour cream, rice, and some Fritos. Maybe I will have a California burrito.
I really need you to add just a tinge of raspiness to your Trump impression, and it would be perfect.
That's why I've got the best Trump impression, because I got lots of gravel.
The best, I tell you. They say you have the best burritos.
I can imitate the Trump voice anytime I want to, because I can capture his old man deprived energy. That's right, folks.
But that is pretty good. That's the raspiness I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's that vocal fry. Hey, what's up, Xena? You crazy fucking... Xena, I have been waiting to serve you papers from Interpol, you crazy, fascist, furry freak. I know what you did in Burkina Faso, motherfucker.
What did I do?
You know. What, do you think I'm gonna fucking tell it here? Okay, I couldn't keep it up anymore. What's up, Xena?
The allegations against me have been, exaggerated highly.
Greatly exaggerated? Gotcha. That's what they all say. Right this way to the Hague, Xena.
Listen, it was a mass serious one, alright? I didn't have anything to do with it.
Those people chose to die, huh?
Nectar. Strawberry milkshake.
I might have framed Luigi Mangione. That might have been me.
You bastard.
And I might have framed the guy who allegedly killed Charlie Kirk.
That's it. That's it.
Get him out of here.
Deep fry Xena. Deep fry Xena. Deep fry Xena. Deep fry Xena. Deep fry Xena.
Despite that I've been given special treatment so that I don't look like I'm 89 years old, I will admit that I was also at the grassy knoll.
Get him out of here, this dirty communist. You are fake news, sir. Fake news.
I really do feel like a Trump impression does have to have some gravel. I think Elle was right when she was saying, like, well, wait, Elle, what are your pronouns? Are your pronouns she, her?
I don't know, kid. What do you mean by gravel? Like, it's like, hey, we got some fake news here. Everything is fake news.
Yeah.
That's a bit more close. He's got a little bit of, like,
Getting it.
well, no, he doesn't, yeah, although he doesn't smoke, Trump does sound like somebody who smoked for a long time.
I don't smoke. I have the best smoke.
Trump would say some retarded shit like that, wouldn't he?
Very clearly, fucking RFP Jr. was, like, fucking face fucked by a fucking horse or something.
Here's something. We have transgenders for everybody. Men and women's sports. Crime ravaging our cities. And the whole world was laughing at us as a nation. But not anymore. 2 years ago, our country was dead. Now we are in the hottest country, the hottest anywhere in the world. America is respected like we have never been respected before.
Listen,
Oh my god.
I don't want to fuck a zebra, but the sky sure is blue.
That doesn't make any mistake. You are fake news.
Man.
Get her out of here.
Like, the thing that's been, like, plaguing me a little bit, and I guess it's because I'm a nihilist or some shit deep down, but every time there's, like, a blip in, like, cell coverage, or if there is this sort of moment where things don't seem quite right for a second when you're driving, I always think, like, there's like a thought in the back of my mind, which is like, did Trump like start World War III or something? You know, there's like this momentary thought that the cell towers all dead down because the fucking nuclear war just started because of the fucking nuclear bomb.
Dude.
Don't listen to this communist. He's
Okay,
crazy.
Xena,
Don't listen to him.
Xena, it's so funny you say that because literally, whenever the ice storm happened that knocked me out for like 2 weeks and I couldn't stream for like half a month, whenever that first happened,
Or something.
I was like,
Maybe I'm the last one.
literally streaming when that ice storm was happening. It was just like raining a little when I first went into the. It was just like raining / snowing a little when I first went into the outbuilding, and then by the time I came out, it was because my phone had died. Or was dying, I think. My phone was dying, and I remember the power went out, and I kept hearing what sounded to me like gunshots going off. And a few of them sounded like fucking cannon blasts. And I was like, literally, you can find the stream still to this day.
That's a cannon these days.
I'm gonna see if I can find the fucking stream, because my drunk ass... Dude, I'm gonna find the fucking stream, because my drunk ass, I swear to God... I want to find this shit, because, dude, it was insane when this stuff happened. I literally thought, is there, like, a cannon going off? Is there guns going? Like, is World War II here, and that's why there's no power? Because I didn't know. Like, you know, and ice rain doesn't sound all that different from any other kind of rain. And so I didn't really understand what was going on until
What's ice rain?
So, freezing rain, or, like... I don't know exactly how to explain it. I think it's called freezing rain. But basically, like, whenever things are cold enough, but like the atmospheric conditions aren't right to form snow, then what you end up with is, but like there's still precipitation.
That sounds like hail.
Not exactly hail.
No, it's not hail.
Some people call it's like sleet, I guess.
No, it's not.
Yes.
Well, sleet and freezing rain are still.
Some people call it.
I think they're still technically different, though. I think, like, if I remember correctly, sleet is a solid chunk of ice that is not, like, it doesn't share the crystal structure of a particle of snow. It's like a solid chunk of ice that is much bigger than a snowflake and doesn't feature the same crystal structure. And it can sometimes combine with freezing rain to create icy layers. But freezing rain is specifically a phenomenon where water falls from the sky initially as just regular old rain, but freezing conditions throughout a big chunk of the atmosphere and especially on the ground cause it to freeze basically upon hitting the first surface that it hits, right? Whereas sleet comes down as a solid thing and can pretty much bounce off of trees and stuff like that as it falls. It might collect on the leaves a little bit. It might collect in some of the eaves. It doesn't usually lead to a lot of destruction unless so much of it accumulates that it starts adding a ton of weight to people's roofs or whatever. But freezing rain, on the other hand...
Quick question.
What?
What time is it around where you are, PE?
Almost 4 a.m. for me. Early morning for Phoebe.
It's 5:55.
Right, so like,
I was gonna say, it's like midday for me, so I know it's like fucking the middle of the fucking night for you.
I just looked it up, you're right. Freezing rain doesn't have the time to freeze before it hits the ground, and it freezes once it hits cold surfaces. And sleet is snow that went through a warm layer of our atmosphere and then it is slushy. So sleet is the slushy snow, and freezing rain is the rain that freezes after it hits cold surfaces. Learned a lot of new things today, guys.
So that's kind of what I was explaining earlier.
Get cold, I was still okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to find this thing.
I'm at the end of my fucking break at work, so I'm not legit, but it's been cool.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thought I'd drop in and say hi.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
319.
If I can find it, how to hang up on the app.
Tst, tst. Oh, god damn it. Oh!
And that, folks, is what I call fake news.
It's so close, dude. It's so close. It's
What am I missing? Oh my god.
So A, I think you're coming out of your nose too much. Like you're a little bit too nasally. Like you're putting the sound
Well,
out of your
I
nose.
have a deviated symptom, so I don't know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, that sounded good. That sounded really good. That was so good. It was gravelly and it didn't sound nasally. You gotta complain. You gotta complain at him.
Listen to this little girl think she can tell me what to do. You are fake news.
That's on you, assuming my gender.
Whoa. Okay now. I'm just doing it.
You were correct.
I'm pretty sure you identified as a girl before, that's why.
You're right. You are 100%. I'm just picking on you. The O in the Trump voice made me really happy, though. Oh.
Hey, let me show you my O voice, my O face. Oh, my God.
Now I need to hear your Jennifer Coolidge impression.
I don't know what she sounds like, Jennifer Coolidge.
It makes me want a hot dog. Real bad.
Oh, I know who Jennifer Coolidge is. Okay. Yeah, no. I don't have enough confidence.
next week. I want to hear a really good, or at least partially good, Jennifer Coolidge impression.
Hold on, let me listen to her real quick. I need to listen to her. Maybe I can do it. Coolidge.
I have a backup option. It's another one I can do, but I don't have the confidence to do this one. It's Coach Steve from Big Mouth. I do a really good Coach Steve impression.
Okay, so her voice is kind of deep. It's kind of up here. It's kind of up here somewhere.
That is so weird.
Oh my gosh, why did that kind of sound like Trump?
No way.
Listen to it back.
Oh, that's like a transgender Trump. Oh.
Yeah.
That's a Trump I go for.
Stevie, you missed transgender Trump.
If anybody else would like to support the stream, my power is out, and I appreciate it just a little bit extra tonight. It just, like it's an extra sign of solidarity, if anything. So I appreciate it a ton. Thank you so much. I think the U.S. government and drawn a heart, but even Russia and
Period.
directly
Yes,
define fascism. There's not like one strict, like hardcore dictionary definition that you're gonna look up and it's going to be perfectly accurate every time. The one I usually go for is Mussolini's definition.
It's been lovely meeting you, Matt.
Power, because if you think about it, all fucking conspiracy.
I wish I could say the same.
Yeah. It's not that we want you to leave. It's just that.
That's just exactly what Trump would do.
I do want America. I need our president. Yeah. What are you talking about? If you think any other country would accept you other than Thailand, you are.
Who are you working for?
Okay, what do you think Germany's position on transgender people is? Just off the top of your head.
What outlet
What is Germany's
are you
position
working
on
for, little girl? What outlet?
I got
I know where you like you because you're fake news.
But it'd be locked up. Oh boy. You know?
The only news outlet I'm working for is myself. I'm here for vibes and the pizza.
I bet some of what I've been thinking was gunshots all night. I bet
You can't win
that's
in world
literally just been
vibes.
trees splitting
Oh, he thinks he can for sure. But
and the ice and snow
I don't
just
think that's anything he can ever say.
and there's more of it forecasted. And there are two very old pecan trees right next to our house. Nice. And the ice. So yes, there's lots of snow. Oh man. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Oh god damn it. Holy shit, y'all. Holy shit, y'all. Oh my god. I'm gonna be so lucky if there's no fucking roof damage. Oh my god.
I wish he was here. I wish he was. Because there was something we coined yesterday, a phrase we coined.
I bet she's reading CNN. Fake news.
I was looking for that old stream of mine where, like, I don't know, I thought that there was a stream of mine where you could hear the fucking sound of the cracking trees with the ice on them and shit, but I guess I was wrong. I guess I did not actually successfully capture that. There, I could find the stream where I streamed the night that happened, but I can't find the sound, if that makes sense.
Well, my voice cracked, or
No, I'm talking. What? No, I'm talking.
well, you were walking around. I didn't kind of hear what you said.
Sorry, I was talking about. Like, there was a stream I did where it was all dark. It was before I was away for like a week and a half because of the winter storm, and the power was all off, so you could hardly see anything. And I remember when that was happening, the cracking of the trees and everything was so loud, it literally sounded like gunshots at times. And I wish I had captured that with my microphone, but for some reason it didn't get picked up on that stream. I don't know why.
Those lying trees, they're fake news.
I guess so.
You didn't
What was
play
that
music
frame?
today. Oh, you good?
Yeah, sorry. What was that frame that we coined yesterday? Was it? It wasn't. It was the doom scrolling thing. Hate scrolling.
Oh, hate scrolling?
I thought it was hate. I thought it was like hate maxing or something. Or was it hate rotting? Hate rotting was what it was.
Hate rotting. Yes. Yes, it was. It was hate rotting.
Yeah. You've heard of bed rotting, get ready for hate rotting.
Oh, no.
People just get on live streams and just say awful things and go to the next one and say awful things.
And you don't even need a bed. You can do this from any surface on which you may be seated.
People might actually be doing that already, though.
Oh yeah, they are. They're doing it.
That's what we were referencing that. It's like there were a lot of people that were coming in and saying really gross things.
Yep. I'm gonna run and use the bathroom real quick, but you guys have fun entertaining the chat for just a second.
When is the bathroom? That's fake news. That never happens.
They're just plotting their nefarious acts. There's no bathroom breaks.
You know, I'm told that women, they don't fart. It's fake news in the city. It's fake news.
Yeah, they just don't need to. We just don't have that functionality. We don't need to do it. It's just for funsies. If you ever seen one do it, it's because,
But they do fart out the other end.
Sure. Oh, no. She said entertain the chat, not make it super awkward.
They don't
She
poop.
said entertain the chat,
Everybody
not
poops
please.
except women. They don't poop. Ellie,
Yeah.
tell me more about yourself.
Well, that's easier to do when we're not on a live stream. Well, I'm a
You don't have to. I just like, like your likes, what
Right,
you do. Some of that.
Got it. I completely forgot everything. I am 28. I garden. I have 420 gardens.
Oh, I see what you mean. Well, I live in California. I know all about that.
Nice. I grew up on a farm, actually in a Mennonite community.
That's a little strange.
Yeah, I went from a Mennonite community to being in the city real fast. It was an adjustment, but it was pretty cool.
Phoebe, did you hear that?
Yeah, no, I think that's cool. That's like a tremendous amount of change and growth for sure.
After you tell me more about yourself, you have to how that Mennonite stuff went. You gotta tell me about it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, there's not much, but I did, so in the same childhood, I went from a Mennonite community to playing video games in middle school. So, I had a way more normal childhood come middle school. I was an AP kid. I went
That's
to
cool.
high school early in middle school, and then I went to college early in high school. Yeah, I graduated in 16.
Hey, same as me.
I decided against furthering my education for the meantime because I just didn't want to live in a massive amount of debt and accrue it.
She didn't want to learn fake news.
And, I did music for a little while. My band went on an indefinite hiatus, but...
Oh, no.
No, it's good. I became a mother, so had to put that stuff on the back burner, so later on in life, I plan on doing music again, but we are a dead band, if you're curious about it. It was called Serotonin. Sero-tonin.
Is it on YouTube?
Yeah, I have 3 released music videos.
See, no, this is how you give people your information. I would say that.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, indefinite hiatus, so it's not something I'm plugging. Please, Phoebe, don't think I'm just plugging something. I don't actually care if those things get views anymore.
No, I'm not worried about it. Even if you were, I wouldn't care. Like, you know, I'm not, like, protective of my platform in that way. Besides, there's not that many people watching right now anyway. Even if I was protective of it. But still, I'm not that worried about it. I would be down to support any of my friends or, like, the cool people in chat and their creative works and stuff. I hope you are able to pursue music again in the future, because honestly, since I got a keyboard, because I've, you know, been busking on and off for years and years, and, you know, like, singing and playing the guitar and stuff, but, like, now that I've got a keyboard and shit, I'm starting to think about, like, getting an electric guitar again, and maybe trying to put something neat together, like, solo, because I just don't...
I always recommend it.
I just don't have that many people... I just don't have that many people in my local area that I know that, like, I don't have anybody in my local area that I know that plays an instrument, period. And so I feel like I'm going to have to end up doing a lot of stuff my own unless I end up finding a musical community of some kind at some point. What? You guys both said something at the same time.
I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
No, you go ahead.
To make those connections personally, you just start going to like local shows or close to local shows, and that's you to meet people in that way. It's usually the best way to make your connections.
Yeah,
Did you,
that's fair.
play an instrument?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what it's technically called anymore. I don't want to do. So I was a vocalist, and I did not do clean vocals. We did screaming. I did screaming. No clean vocals at all. We were a technically deathcore, slam deathcore band.
That is hardcore. That's cool.
That's dope.
I always find it amazing that women do that stuff.
Yeah, it was highlighted indefinitely, especially getting the local music scene over here. There weren't any current female vocalists in our scene, so people were highlighting that. I am technically doxing myself. I didn't think about it because there's some articles written about me.
I mean,
because I'm a
nobody's in here.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to highlight that. I'm glad to hear that. I shouldn't be glad to hear that because I support you, but I am glad to hear that right now.
Yeah, no, nobody's, like, yeah, there's only 11 viewers right now anyway. None of them are, like, malicious people, probably, so. I'm probably going to make this stream members only afterwards anyway, so. And I can unlist it if you want me to.
Oh, no.
If you're comfortable with it, I would like to hear it growl. I want to hear it.
I would very much rather share my screen and show you my music video because unless it's a whisper, which is not how I normally do vocals, I'm not going to be able to do anything because there are people sleeping.
I totally understand. I didn't consider that. Yeah,
I appreciate it. That's a sweet, what's it called? Request.
I tried to find serotonin, but I probably typed it in wrong.
Oh, I got you. I'll just send you the link. Sero-tonin. So //tonin. Sero//tonin, and the song I implore you to look up is 193. But I'll send you the link.
Sorry.
It's easier.
I know, right?
193. Oh, I think I found it. Oh, it's not zero, it's Sero. I got you.
Yeah, like serotonin. chemical in your brain.
Yeah, I found it.
Awesome.
Should we play it on stream?
You can if you want.
Oh, it's Phoebe's stream. She would have to do it.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. She can if she wants. Not necessary though. I have enough work.
Totally
Sure. Let's do it. Fucking.
Absolutely not necessary.
The world.
I have enough like reviews and people who have reposted my videos making fun review channels and stuff that.
No, I mean.
Oh my god, I understand that. Are you going, Phoebe?
Oh, I don't fucking know. Go ahead.
I understand that motherhood obviously takes precedence over your own passions, but it shouldn't. You should be able to do it on the side, even if it's just a little bit. You know, even if it's just like recording vocals at home or something.
Yeah, but you can't ask people to do that, dude, because, like, it's so fucking... I gotta tell you, man, I would not be able to do what I do for a living, probably, if it weren't for the fact that I am broken up with my ex, or unless I had, like... It would take something, right? I would either have to have a live-in partner that could help me take care of the of my son, like, you know, the vast, like, majority of the time when I'm, you know, like, working, or like all the time when I'm working and doing streams and stuff, or like the current model where I'm usually able to stream even when I've got my son, but I can't do nearly as long. I can't go for as long. I can't do as many different types of content when he's at the house, because it just kind of limits what I can do. I feel like that's like a limitation that I'm intimately familiar with, and I really I empathize with people, you know.
I'm saying you would have to change how you did it, but man, it sucks that people give up, you know, a certain passion.
Blame society, not the
Obviously, I know
person.
that raising a child is important.
Blame society, not the person.
You know.
Financially was the biggest decision. If you look at the music video, you'll see that, like, not to toot my own horn because I hate doing that. I actually really hate doing that. It makes me uncomfortable, sick, nauseous. I don't like doing that. I'm a confident person, but I don't like, you know, highlighting it. But those are really.
A music video.
But between the sound production and the quality of the music video, they're really, for what we are, we were a beginning band. It was pretty high quality to start off with.
Right.
Huh?
I was just agreeing with you.
I see the song, but I don't see a music video.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, I got you. But the quality of the music video and the quality of the music, with that comes a price, and that price was about, each music video was somewhere between $750 and $1,000 per music video, and that's just the music video. That's not the going to the recording studio. That's not paying for his time and his talent, you know.
Right.
That's the thing. I was about to say.
There's a lot of money involved in doing this, and that was my biggest, hey, I need to take a break. But also, I played a few shows, but our next goal was to tour, and I cannot do that because just playing shows, going to practice, and doing the time restraints that I had currently, I was missing milestones in my children's lives, and I couldn't do that. I didn't want to miss more by going on the road.
But you could do like you know, just like putting out music by, not necessarily, you know, doing music videos or doing the high production, paying a sound mixer and stuff, all that.
You're not wrong. My only path that I've seen that's actually viable in a way that I want to do it is just to be strictly online, and do a cute little project in that way. I'm putting it in the chat for you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I put it in the general chat where we're talking here, the music video for you. But yeah, online, I think that is definitely something I'm going to pursue in the future.
And two, it's like, once your kids are old enough, the possibility of touring and doing things IRL kind of starts to open itself back up, you know?
Yep, that door opens up again, yep.
Exactly. Dude, I feel like me and you, Elle, could be like besties, because we're like the exact same age, and we're both moms, and you're like super chill, and we're both 420 friendly. You know, we just, like, we've got a lot in common.
I think gravitating, and I'm trying not to hang out too much. Like, I'm not going to be here every fucking day. I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not so even the mods are like, who is this? But, like, I think that's why I'm gravitating towards you more. There's a lot in common, I'm noticing.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm always glad to find people like that. It feels like meeting a like soul. And one of the beautiful things that I found about I've only got one kid. I've got a son, and my ex with whom I had him is about to be adding to her family, but that's not going to be a responsibility of mine. So like I've got like that main concern that kind of I have to consider before really like anything else. But one of the liberating things about what I do for a living is that it doesn't really require any, like, there's no rehearsal needed. If I really need to, I can type up a script for a video essay or do research on my phone while I'm walking around watching him play, and we're not, doing chores or something together. Obviously, there's some things I can't do that. But, I'm very lucky for, like, my particular type of creative output to be very feasible on that level, because like even if I were to start doing fan meetups, which I do eventually want to do, because it would give me an opportunity to kind of flex my musical muscles as well as have the same kind of wonderful fun parties that the Deep Fat Fried Boys have whenever they throw one of their meetups. Even if I did something like that, it would be max 2 a year, and it's not something I would have to prepare a ton personally for. It'd mostly be business shit that I could handle in the middle of pretty much anything else going on. And then I think about when he starts to get a little bit older, starts to get into his teenage years, and he might, who knows, I'm not going to push him into this direction. I'm going to give him as many different avenues and opportunities to as many different interests and pathways as he can possibly handle. But if he happens to want to get into like editing and video creation and content creation and stuff, I personally think that that's a growing and viable career path for people. And it would be, I think about the possibilities when he becomes like 15 or 16 and he can be legally allowed to work at a family owned business. And I imagine me and him like doing videos together and embarking on a cross country road trip every year in the summer and documenting our experiences, making documentaries of it. And I like to think that having kids in the life of a creative person does not need to be an end to their creativity. It might pause it, and I think it does end people's creativity in some instances. I just don't think it needs to, and I feel like you're the kind of person who will eventually probably start doing it again.
Yeah, that's why I said hiatus instead of breaking up. I definitely wanted to clarify that immediately, because I did kind of want to avoid no offense at all, but I kind of wanted to avoid. I'm glad we didn't, because your points were just beautiful. You are an amazing mom for making your life changes be non-restrictive, but in new ways to grow. I love the way you did that. I love the way you said that. And it definitely helped shape you, in my opinion, going further. But I did say hiatus because I wanted to skip the whole, like, hey, don't quit music. Because, like, I had that coming at me from fans, from family, from friends, from every angle, from my relationship. Like, I was having that from every angle, when that's not the goal. It's never the goal to stop. It's, I want to come back better when I'm ready again. Because I was ready when I started before, and now I'm not. So I want to be ready again.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you a fucking bit, And honestly, I kind of look at my eventual return to making music the same kind of way. I was not ready whatsoever for an audience or for the kind of life that I wanted to build. I had not fully crystallized that in my head when I was doing music and doing shows for the first time. Like, there's a short of me playing at a bar somewhere in Sedalia, Missouri, on my channel that I recently had Taylor send to me. She luckily still had it saved in her iCloud or whatever, I guess. And when I was doing that, it was like 6-7 years ago, something like that. And I was woefully unprepared for exactly what I wanted. I hadn't come out as trans yet, so I was still very like muddled and muddy in my aesthetic and unable to be myself in a lot of fundamental ways. And all of this combined made it to where like I don't think we did nearly as well as we might have if I had been more ready for that and a better entertainer going into it. And now I feel like because of this channel, because of the extensive time I spent busking on street corners and downtown streets and shit all over this country, I feel like now at this point, when I eventually return here in the next few years, because I think basically what I'll do at first is just like making some pretty high quality covers and doing some of my own original music and just recording it around here and some of the like natural vistas that I can just walk out to, doing a bunch of like just chill at home stuff that's kind of like an addendum to the YouTube channel for people that are interested in that. And then if it ends up taking off and at some point I can get like a couple of gigs here and there, then maybe, right? Because as long as I'm just a solo act and I don't necessarily have to coordinate with a ton of other people, I could facilitate that with one kid and the life I've got and content creation and stuff. But I'm definitely not, like, that's the thing. With all the knowledge I've got now, I can look forward to it with much clearer eyes and know that I'm not going to let it get to the point where that hey, now I'm a musician instead of a political commentator, unless I really want that, number one, and number two, until I get to a point with my living situation where my kid is old enough to where he could handle something like that, because I just feel like it is kind of a deprivation to be, because like there's just so many milestones in like the first 7 or 8 years of a kid's life, and there's milestones throughout the next 10 years after that. I understand, but so many of them happen so close together in those first 7 or 8 years.
Rapidly, yeah.
I watched 2 of your videos while you guys were talking.
Oh, sick. Which ones?
The 1, 2, 3 that you told me to, and let's see. The other one is Call the Void.
Oh, that's my least favorite. I'm glad you watched it.
Oh, I think you're very talented.
Yo,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm sorry. Never mind.
I did want to ask, how do you get that sound? Is it like just a lot of vocal layering?
There are 2 layers.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Like 2 layers.
I go over the entire song in my mid-range, and then I go over in my mid and high ranges, mix of the 2, and then I go over the whole song in my low range.
That's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, all the vocals on that are 100% me. There's no one else. It's just me layered on top of me, a little me sandwich.
Me sandwich. That was so cute. Ah!
Trained where it doesn't hurt your voice in the long term, but that type of singing doesn't really fuck up your vocal cords after some time.
So you know how there's certain ways to do it, like the talent, right? There's certain ways to do different talents where there's really nothing I can describe or compare this to. I'm really trying to, but the best way I can say is like with screaming, with any kind of vocals like that, there's a right way and there's a wrong way, and if it ever hurts you, you're doing it wrong. I learned from, it's really cringy what I'm about to say, but I've learned how to scream. I started learning how to scream from the vocalist from Infant Annihilator, and then switched over to the vocalist from Asking Alexandria, Danny Warstop. And Danny Warstop, in the beginning of his career, tore his throat out to the point where he needed surgery, like he ruined his stuff. And I watched vlog after vlog after every video I can get my hands on that he had done with his doctor. doctor, and he had done by himself, where he explained with his doctor how to scream without doing what he did. And then I learned from other vocalists that I was recommended, and other trainers that I was recommended through him and his community. But if you're doing that and it hurts, then you're doing it wrong. And I implore you to look up an education, whether it be some kind of training. I mean, I started on YouTube. I started self-teaching on YouTube when I was 13 years old, and now I'm 28, so it's been, what is that, 15 years? Yeah, 15 years.
Right. What was how was it when you, like, your first, like, it clicks, oh, I got it. And I finally got it. How's that?
So that's the funny part. There's a lot of those moments, and it usually starts with one moment where you make a noise and you're like, whoa, that kind of sounded like I don't know. I do a very light form of echolalia.
I have no idea what that is.
So like when I hear a sound or something that I really like, I'll repeat it pretty often. I like a vocal stem. So like you get like a TikTok audio that's kind of funny stuck in your head, and then you start saying that throughout like the week, or like, you know.
I'm a really weird person, though. I'm sorry.
Got it. Okay, well, so like
I know what you mean, Elle.
Okay, so you know what
It's about as close as you'll get.
Yes. So I'll do that, and for some reason, when I was younger, when I started screaming, I really liked the sound of Black Ops 2 zombies.
Okay.
So I fixated on that and started doing it rock.
Yeah.
And then that was the first moment where I was like, oh my god, I can actually do that. And then you have like cooler moments as you're learning, where like you do something even more insane, and you're like, whoa, I can do that, because there's so many different versions and styles and ways to scream and little cool things you can do. Yeah. So I would say that I've had a lot of them. But my first breakout one was the Black Ops zombie when I was working at a haunted house.
Who would you say is like the most talented, like, scream style vocalist you ever heard? Or that, I should say.
I also have a question for Elle.
Taylor Barber. And I have to say, as much as I don't really like him as a person, Left to Suffer?
Nope. I'm kind of like, I mean, I like all music, technically, but I haven't really gone down deep into, like, the screaming.
Got you. Okay, well, he is the vocalist for Left to Suffer, and I'd say he is the best. He's he's a top contender. Also up there would be Dickie Allen.
I have a question. I have a question for Elle. Feelings on the band Alexis on Fire.
I've been recommended this band a lot. But me personally, I don't know much about them.
That's fine. I was just curious, because, like, I don't meet that many people who are, like, into music with elements of scream in it and stuff. I think it's like any other genre of music. It's got songs I like and songs I don't. I tend to like a lot of Alexis on Fire music, and there's not that many other bands that incorporate that into their repertoire that I personally dig that much, but I can think of a few. You know, Marilyn Manson's definitely got some songs like that, a ton of songs like that I dig. It's just not one of my like favorite things. But I think what always like what stood out to me about Alexis on Fire was just like the combination of melodic vocals and screaming vocals, because I can appreciate vocals of a wide different range. I like the front bottoms for fuck's sake, but it's really interesting to me whenever a band combines someone who sings like me with someone who sings like you, you know?
Yes. That is called post-hardcore.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what they're called. That's what that's what Wikipedia calls them, I think.
Yep. Yeah, they're post-hardcore.
You know your shit. Oh my god. I love you.
If I do a project, it's something I'm gonna do, because if I've learned anything from performing live and practicing, I can't fucking sing a whole song, so somebody gotta help me.
That is awesome.
What kind of scream band that I don't know, I just call them scream bands, I don't know the actual terms for them. But that's only because they got a little bit famous that I actually like is Necrogoblicon.
Oh my god, I love Necrogoblicon.
It's just, he's so cool. They're all so cool, but he's so cool.
They have actually, in one of the music videos, they feature my favorite fucking chef of all time.
That's cool.
Chef?
Yeah, his name is Josh. He's from Good Mythical Morning.
Oh, I love Good Mythical. I know who that is. I love Good Mythical Morning.
I love Josh. Josh is my favorite fucking person. I love him so much.
You know TJ hates Good Mythical Morning? Yo.
He's on the fun video.
Yo, Matt.
Yeah, sure.
You know TJ fucking
He's so
hates
cool.
Good Mythical Morning?
What?
You know, dude, am I gonna have to repeat it a third time? Matt, clean the wax out your ears.
It's, you know, your audio is cutting in and out, so it's kind of hard to hear you.
I'm kidding. I love you. Oh my god. Let me just bring my phone closer to my face. Okay.
I appreciate you.
Oh, well, that's good, because I appreciate you too. But all I was saying is,
You're wasted.
Necrogoblicon is pretty cool.
It was really a complex thought when I first fucking said it, but then I had to repeat it too many times, and now it has fled my brain. Oh, I remember what it was. Did you know that TJ hates Good Mythical Morning?
Well, TJ isn't right about everything.
No, obviously not, but it's just like, I don't know why. I think TJ is allergic to joy. If it doesn't come from him, you know.
No, TJ is just so deep in the rabbit hole, anything kind of normal, he gets the ick from.
Nah, I love her, but I think they are, like, allergic to joy. To a small degree, to a somewhat degree, right? But maybe not completely, but somewhat. Because, like, I don't, like, even I, right? And I feel like I don't normally like shows like that, but even I cannot help but find myself captivated whenever somebody's got it on when I'm hanging out with them. Which when I used to hang out with my ex-best friend Elena's a ton, and a lot of times we would spend the night and stuff, even though we weren't like sleeping together or anything. I was always hoping we would, but you know, like that never ended up happening, and it's fine. But like we would, well, actually it did, but not toward, like it was towards the end of our friendship. But the point is, we would very often start our morning off by, like, she would wake up like 30 minutes before I would end up waking up, and she would like use the bathroom and stuff and roll up a joint, and she would put on Good Mythical Morning, and then I would kind of like wake up, and because there was a joint going and she would like hear me stirring, she would like kind of like lean back and look towards me and kind of like offer it. And like, man, there's nothing to get a girl out of bed quicker than a ready-made joint that's already sparked. You're saying all I gotta do is sit up and inhale? Oh, well, you've never found a better alarm clock for Phoebe's ass.
It's the lighter spark that wakes me up, man. It's the lighter spark.
Also, my favorite chef. My favorite chef is Maddie Matheson. Used to be my favorite chef.
Is who?
Maddie Matheson. He's my favorite chef. I like Josh a lot. He's cool. Do you know Maddie Matheson?
Oh my goodness, yes! Yes! The guy from The Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is my second favorite chef. The biggest crush on that man.
Don't you just want to lay on his tummy?
He's just a big teddy bear.
Also, I've been watching Rhett and Link before GMM, when it was just cheerleading. So quite a while. What's your favorite, segment they do? But I think mine is, right now, it's the darts game. That was my favorite.
I'm really, really partial to the map one, where they're, like, trying different foods, and they're, like, trying to dart on the map where it's from.
That's what we're talking about. We're both talking about the same thing.
Oh, well, I think that one, yes.
Yeah. Around the world, stuff around the world, whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. It's always got a different theme song or whatever, but yes, that one I adore.
I liked the shuttle put one for a while, the cornhole one, but they don't do them as often anymore.
I don't know what it is about the stage change. It just makes me feel like it's a game show now.
Also,
the vending machine one was pretty cool.
The vending machine was pretty cool. Also, Smosh got a new set. They moved to a new place. So they got a big place now.
I know, actually, Good Mythical Morning, Rhett and Link bought the rights to Smosh and gave it back to Ian and Anthony.
Yeah. I didn't know that for the longest time. So they said it.
Oh. I love it. I love it so bad. It made me so happy. It made me love them more. And I don't watch them as often as I used to, because maybe sometimes I'm also allergic to Joy. Because sometimes I'll have them on and be like, oh, you guys are the most annoying people I've ever seen in my life. And I love them to death. But
I really like... I also like their Ear Biscuits podcast that they stopped doing, but they used to do. And I like Rhett's...
I would sleep with that.
Yeah, I like Rhett's transition from... I think what did he say? Evangelical Christian is what he said?
Yeah.
Like that? Or what did he say? He doesn't call himself an atheist. I think he just calls, so he's not too mainstream with that yet. But Link's a little wishy-washy, I feel, with it.
Yeah, I think he's wishy-washy with a lot of things, honestly. I also think they publicly humiliate Link a bit. I don't know how rude he is behind the scenes, but he's been made to apologize on the camera a couple of times. It just makes me think, oh my goodness, what's going on?
I think he's just a little socially awkward, and sometimes he blurts out things that he probably shouldn't say.
Yes. But he also has, like, the coolest taste of music for no reason.
Yeah, and he also has a good, clothing taste, fashion.
Yes. I think Rhett does. I think they both do. I think they both have their own individual cool taste in style.
Right. My favorite episode actually was them reading that fanfic, that sex fanfic. That's That's so funny. And I also bought a ticket to their first drunk after night thing. The first one they did.
Thinking about it, I ended up getting their book, the Bleaks Creek.
Yeah.
But I was really thinking about it, dude. Did you go?
I went to the live stream, the first one they had, yeah. The first one did.
Oh, I thought you meant the in-person show, my bad.
No, I wish. No, this is they get drunk after, they get drunk. They all get drunk.
What?
And, dude, I tell you, it was the craziest thing. The stuff that was coming out of both of their mouths. Link was just going insane with the filthy shit he was saying.
Is there a way to see this?
I don't know, unless somebody recorded it and uploaded it somewhere. I don't know, because it was one of those things where you stream it once and you don't see it again.
Oh no, I wish I could have seen that. That's so cool. Oh my goodness. I would have loved 18 plus adult, like, red link.
Dude, they were just trying to get a link from, like, floating to the roof. And they were trying to keep him down. And he was just fucking, he was so plastic. He was just going insane.
I love that so bad.
Oh, man. They do them every once in a while. They did, like, a second one and a third one. Maybe I'll catch the next one. The first one was insane, though.
Did you know you can fertilize your lawn with used motor oil?
Sounds like a way to get sick. So what, do you walk around on, like, oiled lawns with your bare feet and soak up that oil, or what?
The wisdom of the ancients is to be absorbed, not doubted and questioned.
Baby, keep that phone to your mouth, because we cannot hear you. You keep cutting out.
Okay. The wisdom of the wisdom of the ancients is to be absorbed, not doubted and questioned.
Oh no. Is that how religion happened?
My bullshit is better than their bullshit.
Oh, Phoebeism.
We've been talking about it for a long time. I'm going to restart the stream, so come back if you keep want to watching. Or if you want to keep watching.